day, and then tell them, hey, so this is how it is, and
Mm-hmm.
try to meet them where they're at, and have a conversation with them and empathize and put yourself in their shoes. You can teach them how they can de-radicalize themselves.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, that's a good point. That we sometimes don't understand the context of the other person, so it is hard to try to realize why they are thinking like it, or what their parents or their teacher or whatever. So sometimes it is better to get calm um and yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
something for us would be like, "Oh, it's so obvious," but they have learned their whole life that it's the other way. So any like attack, like saying coming from an argument of incongruity, what's it?
Incre-
Incredulity.
Incredulity. Oh
Incongruity.
my gosh.
I'm dumb and cannot read that word. It's a tongue twister. But basically saying like, "Oh, I can't believe you'd think that." Comes off as a personal attack, and you shouldn't you you should try and just slowly peel back on why people are thinking that way, and try and help in that way, and just try and be like, okay, but why do you think that way? And try and talk like that. I don't know, that
I've
kind of thing.
I've had people argue with me and tell me, like, how do you not see that specifically, this is the one issue that they told me, how do you see that immigrants are not invading the country and this and this? How do you see it? How do you not see it? They're like, in my town there's one bus that dropped off a bunch of them, and this and this, and how do you not see it? You're crazy to even think of it. And I'm to me, I mean, personally, I first, I don't see it, and then second, it's a bad argument to for me to base my, I want to say, policy decisions, but my views on something that uh that I can't even it's not that I can't fathom, but it's not real. It's like you have such a um hot emotion tied to, oh, you do, how do you not see that? How do you not see that? It's kind of indefensible for me to argue or try to convince them, like, I don't see it. I mean, I live in a different state than you live,
Um,
so of course it's different. The demographics are different. The people are different. You may have 100 people in your town. I may have 1 million. There's very different things, and for you to argue that, how could you not see my point of view because of what happened in my town? It's kind of a weak argument.
And not only that, but you have
yeah.
access to different stats than they do. Like you've seen this, which is the
Mm,
crime done by migrants, and how it's so much lower
yeah.
than
Here happened
American.
something similar. Sorry,
And go for it.
with Venezuelan people.
Hmm.
Um, uh, as you know, in Venezuela there's a crisis, so people are coming here, and sometimes it's easier to blame foreign people of the failures of the city or government or whatever, rather than blame be conscious enough to be aware of our problems. So it is not a matter of who is coming here, but the organization of the city and how we do our stuff, rather than blaming people. It is true that sometimes when the situation is difficult for them, sometimes it's easier for some people to commit crimes because it is easier to survive or get money or whatever. But most of the people who is coming are good people and are contributing to our society, and they get like tagged with those with that thing that oh, they are
Ding
foreign,
dong
nor they are Venezuelan, those are thieves or something like it. I heard it enough, and I think I try to convince them that there are bad Colombian people too, and they are among us, and we cannot blame the situation or the problems of our city because of them, or blame them. Uh, so yeah, I think that's a good point to try to see the problems of our city or of our countries, not basing them to the foreign people, but the real issues that the city or whatever has.
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing here. We have given them asylum. Like if you're from Venezuela or Haiti and you're able to prove that you are not a criminal and things like that and can be employed, we are allowing them in. And mostly because of the embargoes and things like that we've put, or historical troubles that we've put on those two countries. So, yeah, we're seeing a huge influx of Venezuelans, and people don't like that. They just see that out of hand and just go like, "Oh, look, the demographics of my city are changing, so therefore it must be bad." And it's like that's not true at all. That is a bad way to go around it, and is
Well,
pure racism. So, but like I
I
said,
I
crime isn't going up because of them. I mean, it's anytime somebody that is like white is committing a crime, it's not immediately on camera and shown on every news channel. But if it's a Venezuelan, that's going to spread like wildfire through like X or
Yeah,
other
agree.
websites, you know. People trying to prove that cuz they have an agenda to prove that it's like, "Oh, immigrants are such criminals." But statistically,
Yeah,
they are not.
and news.
well,
Uh,
technically, all immigrants that don't come into the country legally are criminals.
As much as somebody who doesn't stop at a stop sign is a criminal.
yeah,
It's
I
That's
not a
a
agree.
traffic.
felony.
That's a minor traffic violation.
Yeah,
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 uh,
but also
You're talking about
it's.
coming into a country because I actually live in a state where
I'm in
the
San
immigration
Diego.
has where yeah I'm in Ohio and I'm in a state where a lot of them have come in and they get all the government money and the government won't take care of their own people,
Wait.
but
Are
they're
you talking about
taking
Venezuela or are you talking about uh like people from Mexico? Who are you talking about? You have to be very
that
clear.
that I don't does it
Yes,
really
it does.
matter?
Yes, because the people from Venezuela are getting subsidies. They are here legally. They
Well,
are seeking
that's not what I'm talking
asylum.
about. I'm talking about illegal
Yeah,
immigration.
they are
uh,
not getting any benefits. They don't have a social security number. They're not getting any benefits.
I agree that we should have some kind of control because uh, um, we should have a way to manage things. So if we have some numbers or some ways to manage resources
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and
It
yeah,
should be a lot
that's very good.
easier to like
Mm-hmm.
people would absolutely volunteer to give up all their information and sign up to become citizens.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it
What
were easier.
these numbers up here? Can you show
Yes.
like explain this to me? So like which
Yes,
one's the
absolutely.
American offenders and which one's
This
the
one is the total and these ones are the immigrants. So out of 21,156 murders when I made this, which was, sorry, let me grab the more cell information. Do I have history? And it was about 6 months ago. 27 of them were done by migrants. That is 1%. That is,
Less than 1%.
yeah, that's less than 1%.
where are you getting these stats from?
From the what's it, Customs and Border Patrol website. So U.S. Customs and Border
Can you
Patrol.
look up the FBI one and see what the FBI one says?
Sure. I don't know if they have one, but let's look it up. Yeah.
Can I give up my citizenship and claim asylum?
It was right there, crime statistics.
Yeah, the FBI
Yeah.
crime Murder
I think
statistics
bad
by
people
immigration
are brings us more news than good people. So
status.
um,
Okay, that's the first one is the Border Patrol. Nation. Crime
I got a
is
question, right?
decreased. Which is, we are bringing in more people, Venezuelans and Haitians, yet crime is decreased, so that is definitely a thing.
yeah, those
Well, the main reason why the crime has decreased is because there's no more riots and burning buildings down. Because remember, they're comparing that it went down from the years prior. And the years prior is when they had all the
Nope.
riots and
Nope.
all that stuff.
1 second. Let me pull up the total crime graph. U.S. crime rate by year. Let's do 10 years. Da, 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 da.
it's really nice to meet you all. My
yeah.
headset is going to.
Okay, it was great talking to you and getting.
Yeah,
Great talking
nice
to
to
you,
meet
Jose.
you. I will back.
Hasta la
Sure.
vista.
Yeah.
Ciao, ciao.
Okay.
Ciao.
With the invention of video games, crime is crazily low. See this little bump? This would be your like, oh my god, riots. Look at these Look at the crime stats in freaking 92 and 94.
That's reported crime, though.
What
So
should we
migrants
be
typically won't-
anecdotal crime that we should use?
No,
No,
but
but
it's a fact that
But they're
migrants
saying,
will-
but what they're
will,
comparing to is
report.
just they're talking about recent crime, how the crime has gone down. But you look from when the riots happened, where they're at a peak right there, and then they come down just a yeah. But that's the peak right there where it goes up and then it starts to come down. They're saying crime's going down, like the reason why it's going down. But look from before the riots, it shot up.
Yeah,
Like it
this
went from
is
down
in
there.
2020 when everyone was stuck in their house. Little maniac, were you?
What?
Are you possessed by a 12-year-old? Stop that.
Sorry, I
It's
rolled
okay.
around in my chair.
Okay, no. I just see you like dancing and then doing wanking
We also
motions.
see that it's down in not also 2019, but further down. Yeah, there.
Yeah, 14.
What was
I
going
don't
on
know.
there?
I have no idea what was going on here.
Olympics?
Who knows? Who knows what was going there? But I do know. Look at the 80s and the 2000s, and yeah, crime is going down. These
Surprised
little
to see
tiny
that.
peaks. This is nothing. This is a bleep. This is like. I don't think we should be
It's good
concerned.
that crime's going down.
Crime
Crime's
is-
going down.
It's really weird because from somebody that grew up in the 90s compared to what I see in my experience,
Everyone
in the area
has a
that I live
cell phone.
in, it is completely different. It seems more crime now than ever before. Like
Are you
in my
seeing
area,
it physically with your eyes? Or are you seeing it through a
Yes.
phone? Or are you seeing it through Nextdoor app?
Well,
Where
what I'm
every
saying is,
grandma
like-
has a cell phone and goes, I saw somebody knock on my door. They could have been trying to sell me cookies, or they could have been trying to rob me. I'm going to assume they
I'm-
were trying to rob me.
Well, for instance, when I was a kid growing up in the 90s, when somebody got murdered, it was the talk of the town. It seems to me like in my area now, somebody's murdered every week. And that's
Where the
really
fuck do
weird
you
for
live?
the type of.
Excuse my
I
language.
live in. You can look up Northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio's a
You're
shithole.
like the,
No
you're like
offense.
the ghetto.
Yeah, really close to Akron, Cleveland area. You can see the crime rate. I guarantee in Ohio has gone up.
Mm,
If it hasn't, I think
Right.
I'm telling you, they're forging the.
they are not
I
forging
can definitely
anything.
tell.
Right. I'm right.
Because
10
there are
years.
police chases. Like
We have
police
those in LA
chases
every
galore.
day, and they're not
Yeah,
that
but
crazy.
LA is completely different than Ohio. That is a complete different thing.
Highest in decades. Actually, this is Axios. I'm not sure if I trust Axios.
Oh, see, it says the highest in decades, but we're not gonna
No,
trust
no,
that
no,
one.
no, no. Let's get something out. Let's look at a graph. I want a graph that. Let's see. Let's see what the robot says. Decade. Violent crime. Higher. Below the national average. That's 2020. You want? Let's read. Fine, we'll read it and see why it's saying that. The numbers. If we can, we can't, because fucking Axios has a, excuse my language, but a
Yeah, everybody
wall.
wants you to pay or
Yes,
subscribe.
exactly.
Stupid.
Like, I would look at it. Let's see.
No, we don't feel your government's taking enough money from you. Just pay us and we'll give you this.
Let's see. This is ohio.gov. Wait, that was 2020. Let's see if there's anything.
On ohio.gov, you can see that the trending line on that was actually steadily going up.
Lord Baltimore, are you asleep? He might be. Okay, 10 years.
He's snoring.
He's snoring. I'm gonna exit him out in a second so he can take his
Hello,
nap.
sweetheart. Hi,
Hello.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, guys.
Cool.
Hey, K-Dog.
Let's see.
I don't know anybody else.
Okay, 22.
Where's Doc?
Doc, Jill is having her birthday.
Oh, very nice.
So they are hanging out. I'm running the show tonight, so that's why it's going to be crazy. And by crazy, I mean a little slow, and I'm going to kick people a little quicker. Yeah, 2022.
So the new thing is Teach Progress?
Yes, that is our current thing we're doing, which was we're trying to less debate people and more de-radicalize them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hear their ideas, meet them where they're at, and then try to teach them where they're what flaws in
Property
thinking, so that they can
crime.
recognize it themselves
Violent crime.
instead of just arguing.
Okay.
Like instead of like demeaning them or something, or
Yeah, instead of just
Yeah,
calling
it's
them a
bigger.
Nazi and kicking them.
Yeah, it's more meeting them whether meeting them where they're at, as far as like whatever idea they may have, whether it's good or bad, strengthening that idea, bringing it to its logical
Okay,
conclusion,
this is
and showing
July.
them the flaws in the thinking.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
been a recent FBI release where the crime figures have actually gone up, not down.
Yeah,
Yep,
but it's
that's what I was
slight
saying.
though, right?
It is slight.
Yeah. Well,
But and it's more to do with the way that they
calculate
assess
it.
these figures. Yeah, the
Yeah,
calculation.
and
of
I
it.
could tell you another reason why in the 90s the crime went up a lot too, because that's when they started enforcing a lot of domestic violence laws, and you can be easily charged. It's the easiest charge you can get in the United States and the easiest to be convicted of, even if you don't threaten or put your hands on something. If you get in an argument with a
Something
brother
or
or
someone.
with someone like
Okay.
somebody you live with, you get into an argument with them, and as you're leaving, if you slam the door and they call the cops on you, you're automatically charged with
fucking
domestic
way.
violence.
You're
Yes.
serious?
slamming the door.
Dude, I was trying
For
to be a cop.
slamming?
I was actually going to be a cop, and then I lost my chance of being a cop
Alright,
because
so-
that exact
Hold on.
thing played out.
I want to ask
Huh.
something. I want to ask a real serious question.
You can actually you lose your gun rights. You lose instantly the minute you're charged with that. You're pretty much, and mine was an M4, which is the lowest charge you can get before being a traffic violation, and they treat you like you're a first-degree felony.
All right, so I got a question, right?
Mhm.
I wanna ask this.
Oh yeah.
You said that makes complete sense. I'm Jamaican, right? I live here. I got married. My wife lives in New York. She has 5 kids. Badass fucking kids, right?
Mhm.
How would, if I come up there and say discipline them, would I go to jail for that? Or would I get in trouble for that?
Depends
you
on
said
what.
you're the father?
No, I'm not.
Depends
No,
on
I
what
wish
you
I
mean by
was.
I wouldn't risk
discipline.
it then.
All right, so like,
Probably like spanking
like,
the butt.
no, not even that. Like, just I don't even know because you're saying that that's basically saying I can get arrested just for raising my voice, apparently.
No,
Can I get
no.
arrested for touching a child? Get the
Jesus
No, no.
fucking Christ.
Actually, that is true. If you raise your
I'm a
voice and
child,
the
I wanna
person that
get
you're like,
touched.
let's say you're with your girlfriend or your wife, and you raise your voice because you're angry, and she feels threatened because you raised your voice and calls the police, you will be arrested. Whether or not you're found guilty, you still have that initial charge. You still get the initial charge, and then you got to prove yourself innocent in a court of law. Which the thing is even though I had proof that she lied, she brought people to court to lie for her, even though they weren't there. So I just admitted to the thing because they spooked me in court. And
This
the thing
sounds like,
is
well, this is all personal anecdotal.
oh, I know lots of people that have been charged with domestic violence, and most of them, all except for the exceptions of one of them.
I believe you, sir.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, sometimes it is rough, but also sometimes there are people that do actual real threats, and it is a problem, and you shouldn't, sometimes people shouldn't have their guns.
Society makes an excuse, I think, that, like, a woman gets mad at her boyfriend or husband, they hit him without thinking about it.
No,
but
then
if a guy gets mad and runs at his mouth,
call. Yeah, you should call immediately. Then, instead of fighting back. I mean, I guess
call the new domestic violent laws or backdoor gun control laws, because that's the first thing they go for. Because they even though you haven't been proven of anything, they say just because there might be a chance. What happened to innocent?
Hey, what's the murder rate of people murdering domestic partners?
It's somebody that's going to murder somebody is going to murder somebody anyways. Yeah. So you can't really control that by punishing everybody. You say, well, just because a few guys or girls have gone back in a domestic situation and killed their partner, you can't treat everybody as they would do that.
Well, that's pretty much how everything works nowadays.
Most gun homicides are against domestic partners.
Yeah, but a lot of those, what happens when they took all the guns away of the people in the UK? Now the knife rate went up.
Yeah, but you're less likely to be murdered.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I could take a couple of stabs. I don't think I can. Yeah, I can take a bunch of stabs. I don't think I can take a bullet. That's the whole point, is that they're less fatal.
I would say they're pretty similar.
When did they take guns away from people in the UK?
You're late.
No. I'm sorry. Is it Australia and and the UK? What do you mean?
Australia? No, because we haven't had guns for a very long time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I might be thinking of Australia.
Well,
but one of them they just
I think you're probably thinking of Australia.
But
although
once they took the guns away, all the other crime.
We do have high knife crime, but it's not as high as even your gun crime.
The thing is we have to realize something. Whether they have guns, knives, or vehicles, or bombs, or whatever they have, people that are going to do evil things are going to do evil things.
But it's less likely to be fatal.
In the spur of the moment, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Without
their thoughts
it's all crime of passion.
Let's punish.
Yeah, exactly.
Of all female homicides in 2018, 92% of the victims were killed by the man they knew. 63% were killed by their current husbands, boyfriends, or ex-husbands. Damn. That's a high fucking number.
That's pretty high.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look up to how many of those were killed by guns.
Okay. I mean, it's 2018,
guns,
so
driving over them, it doesn't really matter how they were killed. They were killed.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Guns, I don't believe is the issue. A gun is like a tool. Same thing with a knife. They're tools. But
except for you can kill way more people with a gun than you can a knife. Absolutely. 100%. There's no denying it. Are you denying it?
I don't think
they do have it. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Take me back, Marco, please.
No.
Damn, that was fast.
That guy's been coming in back and forth. all
Well,
last
block him.
night. No, he has
Well,
different
yeah,
accounts. It's the guy who has different accounts.
Chop. Amp. I personally
Well,
don't
give me
believe
enough
in
time
that,
to record him.
Taking guns away.
To be fair, he's not doing
will solve
anything
the problem,
against the
but
rules.
we can do
Okay.
sensible gun control as far as I don't think anyone should really have an assault weapon. There's no good faith argument that anyone legitimately needs an assault weapon, especially
What's an
one that
assault
can,
weapon?
An assault
Like
anything
semi-auto.
larger than a handgun or a hunting rifle is nothing.
Well, did you
it's
know
not
a
necessary.
hunting rifle is the same caliber as an AR-15?
A hunting rifle, I would consider a hunting rifle would be a single shot loaded caliber that you have to literally load each shot.
Well, you
into
do
it.
know the purpose and reason for us to have the right to bear arms, and people can't say, well, it was for musket loaders, because back in the day, civilians had their own battleships and they had their own cannons. Oh yeah, they did. Actually, when we were in wars, the government would call upon civilians to help them fight sometimes and use their
what
stuff.
was the reason? What was the reason that the government gave the citizenry the right to bear arms?
The right
What
to
were you
keep and
afraid
bear
of?
arms
What
is
was
for
the thing that we were
for
afraid of?
freedom. So that way, even a tyrannical government, we're supposed to be able to defend ourselves against.
And how many times has that tyrannical government been put down by the citizens since that was enacted?
What was the possible threat at the time? What was the threat that was going on during the time that
The French
law?
and the British and the Dutch.
Yeah, the British.
Yeah. So
No,
that
actually,
might
it was
have
more the
something to do with it.
French, because they thought the French were going to come in when the British was kicked out, and the French or the Dutch would come in, and they were very worried about that. So they wanted the citizens to be able to overthrow or fight back if there was another country came in to try.
Is that
Yeah,
still
see,
wasn't
it's
really
it's
your
all
own government?
Is that
it's all
still a
guns.
legitimate risk?
Well,
right now?
my
Is that
question
a-
to you is
Wait,
why
wait,
the-
wait.
all
Let's
the
stop.
areas...
Let's make it clear that it's all guns that are killing people.
That's not true.
Look. It's not all guns, but it's a majority guns. Clear majority. Instead of knives or cutting implements.
How many of these involve police shooting?
How is that relevant?
Well, because when an officer gets into a situation with somebody, usually 9 times out of 10, when they're fighting with a perp, guns are going to be involved.
No, this is a homicide.
while I read it.
Sorry.
Total number of murders.
No,
Texas is a weird one.
well, it's total number of murders, so it won't be police, because if a police officer shoots somebody, generally speaking, it's not a murder. So
Really?
these are murders. Well, yeah,
Wait,
I mean, a
if a
police
cop
officer
Hey,
would
guys.
only...
me, he didn't murder me?
No, it's
It's
And I died.
investigated. It's investigated, and it could be deemed as a homicide. Sure.
See,
But
what I'm trying to
yeah,
explain to you, though,
they
is
tend to be rare that a police officer would be charged with murder.
It's usually
they have to-
self-defense.
even
but it's
says
justified.
445 murders, 381 of them are gun violence.
91.
Even if you took the guns away from those people, I don't think that number's still going to change. It means they're going to either strangulate them, they're going to beat them with a weapon, they're
No,
going to
but
run
then
them over the car.
they have time to call the cops. This is all crime of passion. All it does, in order to kill somebody with a gun, is just a pull of a trigger. In order to kill somebody with a car, you have to literally have them in the middle of the street and run them down. If you're
Marcos,
gonna
can I add something to this?
no, Twisty, you're a child. I can hear it in your voice. I'm sorry.
I'm not a child, bro.
You have a picture of yourself pointing at 9/11.
She's scared to
It's
debate.
hilarious.
She just kicks people because she's scared to debate.
I'm scared to debate the 12-year-old.
Yeah, you are. You're a coward, Mirko.
Yeah.
Dr. Penguin Hunter was right.
Can I bring up a
Yep,
point?
I am
You
a
guys are
coward.
all dumb. That's
Mirko?
why you left.
Yes.
What
Let's
was
see
it?
who.
Mirko's a tyrant that can't
Oh,
debate. What a
political.
coward.
Yeah, I guess I am. 1 second.
Yeah. Kick me, you coward.
Yes.
Hey, so
Go
that
on,
wasn't
buddy.
actually a
Don't
debate.
try and click
what
on
were
him.
cars designed for? That was a weird guy.
That was a weird guy. I don't know
I saw
why
the question,
people are pushing angst between rooms when we're not even having angst between each other. Okay,
I joined in because I heard
Well,
you
I do
were
have a question.
CIS, man. That's the only reason why I stayed.
But I
I
guarantee
swear.
it, gun laws don't tend to work because
Oh, see,
the only
Andy.
people
I
that
didn't see
obey
you.
gun
I
laws
was down
are
there.
civilians, and they're the only ones that get punished. Are the people that obey the law, because the people that aren't going to obey the law are going to get guns anyways.
Well, but you don't create laws. Uh, you don't create laws to put against criminal. That doesn't make sense. Like you don't try to prove a negative. You don't try to police a negative. Crimes are being committed either way, whether laws or not. It's a catch-all, or try to minimize as best as you can the
Well,
preventable ones. If let's say the school shooters that was able to buy the guns legally because of whatever state they lived in, that could have been prevented at that time.
How could they?
Yeah, we had
every one of those kids. No,
No.
hold on. Every one of those kids.
I actually think
that did a
Penguin
school
Hunter was
shooting,
talking about that the other day about the
everybody
divorce.
said that
Why
they were able to buy. They're able to buy guns, so they didn't even have a criminal record. So for them to even thought at as we can't sell you a gun because of a criminal record, that wouldn't have happened. All them kids that have committed those school shootings, there's no way they could have known.
Can I respond? Are you guys don't raise your hand or what?
Yeah, there is. There's red flag laws. There's a bunch of different things that they can do.
And some of those are garbage because if you get mad at somebody and you say, you know what, I'm going to call the police and say, hey, Zelp, he said something that made me worry. Then the cops, even let's say you didn't do anything, they're going to come to your house, take your guns, and you didn't, because this happened to a buddy of mine. And then the girl had to go back and say, I lied. And then he got his stuff back, luckily. But if you do that to somebody because you're angry, they lose their gun rights. So those red flag laws are
That's
garbage.
called a malicious use of police.
I
It's
think
not a malicious charge or
obviously
malicious arrest.
He said, she
it's
said,
against the law, bro.
there's
That's the best that
there's
can be
something
done.
to argue against that. But if you
You're
post
next
things
door.
online saying things like that, then there are certain steps that we need to take to be able to do that. If the FBI comes and visits you because of something you posted online multiple times, there should be something to that you should not have access to them.
Well, what was
at all.
posted online that should justify him losing his firearms? Like if he's threatening people, then by all means, yes, go arrest him because
A lot of the school shooters literally have posted the last one. Yeah, sorry, Timba, if I'm stepping on your toes. But the last one, definitely, the FBI immediately went like they were on our radar.
Yeah,
and they couldn't do anything because that state didn't have red flag laws. If they had red flag laws, they would
Yeah,
at
let
least
Timba
have
talk.
had
a bunch of different things.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
So if they knew that something was going on, and they were watching the guy. My question is
why didn't they do anything?
They could have done stuff.
No.
Whenever somebody's under whenever somebody's under investigation for anything, they surveil a person. If they thought he was that big of a threat, they could have surveilled him for a while and see if he done anything recently.
We don't have the resources for that. And plus,
no, it's not
that's
necessary
they're
either.
also incompetent.
There's red flag
No offense.
laws in particular, and so they got there and they called the sheriff and the FBI showed up and they questioned them and they did not like the fact that they couldn't do anything. They had to just leave the premises.
Yeah, I can't
in
see
any
him
state
either.
that had a red flag law in particular, in that particular case in Georgia, they would have at least confiscated the guns immediately. And your friend that you said somebody called
I think it might be Timba because more than one person are saying it.
And it was made up, then you should sue that person that called the law because that is illegal. That's the best that can be done.
Yeah, but the problem is
okay.
they had a chance. Even though they showed up, they automatically just took everything,
Timba.
and he had to fight for a while to get his stuff back.
One second.
Be like that.
Timba, I think that either you have a bunch of people blocked or you blocked by a bunch of people, or
Yeah, I'm blocked by people. I don't block people, so.
Okay,
That's
well, I doubt Jazz would have blocked you,
All right,
so
if
I
you got
think
somebody that
that
you doubt,
it might
I'll
be
go
the
out and come back.
server. Yeah.
Can I ask
Yeah,
you
I'll go
guys
out
one
and come back.
question?
Yes.
Why is it areas that have absolutely no gun laws and they actually make, like some places will make their civilians have guns? How come those have the smallest crime rate out of anywhere in the world?
Oh, that's not true.
All the places that
Let's see.
it is true. You can look
Let
it
me
up.
pull it
I
up.
think it's.
Let's see.
I think was it New Zealand? Well, I'm trying to remember what.
Oh
Country.
no, I'm talking about the
Switzerland.
United States.
Oh no, even in the United States, areas usually that get shot up or have issues are the ones that are gun-free zones. Those are the ones that those people go and shoot up are gun-free zones. They don't
Chicago's
go into
probably the
police
highest.
stations. They don't go where people can fight back.
That's weird.
Here's CDC
Shooting up a gun
firearm
prison.
mortality by state.
Oh. Well, a school is a gun-free
Here we go.
zone.
Here we go. Look.
Shopping
Yeah, that has
malls are
guns that
gun-free
people are
zones.
shooting stuff up in.
Here is the firearm mortality by state. And I would think that, let's pull by the death rate. Mississippi, Louisiana, New Mexico, Alabama, Missouri, Montana, Alaska, Arkansas, District of Columbia. Actually, District of Columbia is D.C. They're not even a real state. Those are South Carolina. Sorry, D.C. We'll make you a state one day, and then you can have your own laws. Okay, Tennessee, Wyoming. These are all red states. They're all Republican-ran, conservative, low gun restriction states. Yeah.
Except for DC.
Except for DC, like I said, they can't make their own laws. They're not a state. No, I don't even know why they're here. And then let's look at the ones that are the least crime, less. What's it?
That don't make sense because look,
deaths.
if you go down, the numbers are higher. See what you're pointing out will make sense.
Per
the death,
yeah, per capita.
Well, that
if
goes
there's
by,
a,
but if
yeah.
you look at the Democratic states, like where the big major cities
Like
are,
California.
they have the highest number.
Yeah, but also,
Because
but
they have-
it's the
they
we
have
have
so
the
many
most
people.
people.
That's most
Yeah,
population.
yeah.
That just makes sense.
Yeah, look. If there's 3,000
Also, it makes
deaths in
sense
California,
Okay.
and then there's one third of that for Louisiana, but how many more people live in California than Louisiana?
Yeah,
That's
100
insane.
Like 100 times more.
Amp, if I told you you were 50% more likely to be killed in Louisiana than you were in California, which one would you rather live in?
Louisiana, because California is far from our, like, California shouldn't even be considered part of the United States. All the laws that they make.
That was a little bit of a hyperbole right there.
It's not
Hey,
right.
what is the
Move the
definition
goalpost to
for
Spain.
the death rate here? Like, what is-
Firearms mortality by state, so death
does that
by
include
guns.
Suicide?
I am sure suicide counts. Suicide counts.
So
I mean, that's a
PA,
death.
No gun, no
that
suicide by
Pennsylvania
gun.
should be pretty much up there.
I think it's funny that a state that only has 848 deaths is considered extremely
even
red,
question it.
but California that has over 3,000, almost 4,000.
Yeah,
is
because
considered,
how many
very
people
minor.
live?
Population.
Let's
It's not
population.
ratio and population.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, if you don't
check-
think per
his
capita
logic
matters.
is not necessary to verify the
No,
fucking
That's
thing.
true.
You
That's
gotta
don't
remember,
understand.
it's the actual government. He's not going to listen to you either way. He's just against it, which is fine because luckily we live in a country of democracy and you're outnumbered.
Use the dumbest
Not
shit
made
to
the
Yeah,
decision.
and our government, our country is not a democracy; it's a republic.
Which is a
No,
type
it's
of
both. It's the
democracy.
same fucking
So you
thing.
think I'm a kid?
And then,
Okay,
then you're going to
let's
do
see.
another level. We have to say capitalism,
I think-
but it's
No,
Hold on.
this is
Let
why
me-
this
let
is
me-
why everybody's been fooled for all these years when they kept talking on the TV for our democracy. No, we are a republic.
Which is a
legislators gonna
type
get us?
of.
Republic.
Let me
Again,
It's a type of
beautiful.
democracy.
If you have a misunderstanding of how the government works, it doesn't matter. When we outvote you, it won't change a thing.
Amp,
It goes
let,
in our
let me
favor.
let me switch the question a
But it's
little
not
bit
a
because I don't
democracy.
think you're understanding. Okay, so
Goalposts.
I have
Yep.
let's say a Ford truck and a Chevy truck. If in that Chevy truck you are 2 times as likely more to die because it is badly constructed versus that Ford truck, which one would you pick?
Oh hell, I thought it was the Ford truck that was badly
My thing is,
constructed.
you
It's privilege.
can't
It's
you
not
can't go by those numbers and just say, look, the Republican states.
See?
You have to look at exactly what what the situations are.
Amp.
Most of the higher
In
deaths in other
Louisiana-
states where there's more people is all gang related.
In Louisiana, per capita, you are most likely to be murdered by a gun than you were in like.
No,
let's
you're
say,
not.
California.
You're more likely to get murdered in Detroit City or in
See,
Washington
it's-
D.C. The
That's
big
like
major
comparing
Democratic
things to
cities.
the
I
city
don't
to
care
a
what any
state.
of y'all say. That's the truth.
No.
Democratic
Let's
cities
be
is where you're more
clear.
likely to get killed.
Statistically, that is incorrect.
Yep.
We're looking at the statistics.
Objectively.
Yeah.
In Louisiana, you are most likely to be
Can you
killed.
look at the FBI stats for gun violence?
Yes.
I think DDC skews the gun.
What
the
part of
numbers because-
Louisiana?
Let's
I
see.
bet you it's probably in the Democratic
Which
zone.
isn't- which
It
isn't
doesn't
really
agree
good.
with my preconceived notion, so I'm going to question it.
What is a
see.
Democratic zone to you? that they
Well,
vote
Democratic's
mostly
okay.
Democratic?
Look, so you can have a state that's
doesn't
either
know.
Republican or Democrat, right? But then you have the
No.
major cities where the mayor or the person running the city can be Democrat or Republican. Or you got
How
to
would
look
that
at
work? How would that work? How would that still make them a Democrat if they're voting for the opposite?
So is Kansas a Democratic state because it's run by a Democratic mayor
Kind of
or governor? Sorry.
yeah. If the state's run by Democrat or Republican, that's mean who voted for them the most. So that's the majority of who's in
That's
that
not
state.
how it works, bro.
That's not how.
So then
Alabama
that
is-
would make
is
that would make
blue
a Louisiana
Democrat.
a Democrat state, which is not.
I reject your
But
reality
they don't
and
break it
substitute
down by
my
state
own.
here, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Savage.
Like
I
the
think
state
the
of
stats would
Alabama
be
was
very
never
different
blue,
if you take
but
out
the previous
suicide.
governor just 4 years ago
Literally.
was Democratic. See how that works?
I don't play Republican or Democrat.
there.
I
Which
think
state's
both
that?
parties
you
are
did- you
equally
were
corrupted.
Just 5 minutes
It's
ago,
the
you
fourth,
were.
fourth
Yeah,
option.
like 2 seconds
I-
ago. Okay, FBI statistics. What we were,
Have
who
you guys
was
talked
asking
about-
for the FBI statistics? You were,
Me.
for
I
what?
think it was Ant.
Exactly.
Oh,
I
maniac.
was saying that the CDC numbers kind of
Yeah.
paint a
Let's see.
false narrative because they're trying to say like guns are a problem, but if you remove suicides, then guns really are only a problem in violent crimes, not on suicide. If you don't have guns, you'll find another way to commit suicide.
But it's
Try to
less
explain
of
that, but
no. It's less likely to be impulsive. Let's see.
Because of the ease.
Yes.
Penguin, stop rapturing me!
Penguin, stop
rapturing
me! Penguin, stop rapturing me! Penguin, stop.
So
people are a little
I
nutty
don't know if
today.
you guys have had the conversation yet, but every country that has outlawed
Yeah, like number
assault
300
rifles,
people also
their
asked
mass
that we
murders
interesting.
dropped to nothing.
so sleek.
Not just low, to
Yeah,
zero.
sorry, number two.
Australia is my
Which cities
favorite
have the
example.
worst gun violence?
Where's what? A,
The problem is none of y'all
You don't
know
like
what
it. That's the
assault
problem.
rifles
The
are.
problem is you don't like it. Go ahead.
Oh,
need my
we were
guns
having this.
because my penis
Amp-
is
we,
small.
were, we were having
that's
this
a little bit of a
conversation
personal
before.
attack. Don't worry. Like.
Well,
we'll
that's
back up a
exactly
little
what they
bit.
always resort to.
What do you
is
mean?
you guys
Hey,
resort to.
hey, they always resort to, and that is going to be.
You can always tell who the far left people are because
No,
in
no.
anything they always like
Let's
to
not do personal
insult and
attack.
do all
But
that.
that is also a
I
personal
actually went
attack.
to-
Atheists
Listen to
and
my
leftists,
answer.
that's all you guys do.
If you
Focus on
You
the
throw
top.
insults.
Hey,
You don't have to just have a normal debate.
Guys, settle
hold on.
down.
Bring it down, settle down, kids.
Settle down,
And
kids.
so, like, I think we were having that conversation earlier. So, I personally believe that outlawing guns at all, like, completely.
Hey, I was just talking to Penguin, and he says you're afraid to debate people. That's why.
We don't like
So
to
you
debate
take
those.
everybody's guns, so that way only criminals have them. So when you need to defend your family, you just lay there and let them all die, right?
Nope.
I
That doesn't
don't.
happen in those
okay.
other
That
countries.
is not
Hold
true.
on. That's not what I was. That's not what I was. Jesus Christ. That's not what I was referring to, and that's moving the goalposts a little bit. What I'm
It's not
debating,
moving the goalposts.
You are.
Everybody says that. Now, when y'all
specifically-
watch a video where somebody says, "Oh, let's move the goalposts," and y'all
Just
copy
because
it
you
now.
don't understand it doesn't mean it's not true.
No, I understand it,
Hold on,
but it's
hold on.
stupid that everybody in
name
the
is
stupid
Captain
VR
Jupiter.
thing says it now.
Captain
You guys think
Jupiter.
you're so
Hold on.
It's his
intellectually
privilege that makes him
intelligent.
His
think
name's
because he
Captain
thinks it's
Jupiter.
stupid.
Oh,
it should
yeah,
be
okay.
wrong.
Intellectually intelligent.
Well, I'm sorry. We have a thing
Okay.
called the Constitution, and if you think you can take that from us, good luck to you.
It's called an amendment. It can be changed. There's a lot of them. Check it out.
Nope,
Do your
because
research.
it
yeah,
says
they
the
did
right to
change a
keep and
bunch of
bear
those.
arms shall not be infringed. You cannot change that one.
hey,
certain
So
prohibitions
what
on
are
alcohol
amendments, sir?
going.
Please give me the
Wait,
definition
also,
of an amendment,
the definition of arms, like there's is a bazooka.
Mine
Is that an
simpler.
arm?
What does well regulated mean?
Yeah.
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 And
Our
militia?
regulated
Yeah.
militia. What does that
No.
mean?
Yeah, what's
Now
a
you're taking
militia?
out the whole thing says for the right for the people
playing the
to
game.
keep and bear arms shall not be
Who's the
infringed.
people?
The
Finish
militia
it.
is part of the people that
There
come
you go.
together to be a militia,
Were
but it
black
also
people
says the
part of the
people.
people when that was written?
Pull up the definition of militia, please. I think he needs to
Yes.
be informed.
Sure.
It's just a group of people, bro. It's not that complicated.
If
like
you're gonna
what you
go
just
there with the
characterized
color, did you know the first
No.
slave owners in
Oh,
America
I'm
were
gonna
black
teach
as
from-
well? So
Okay, that's when
black
we
people
stop
were
it.
part.
Okay.
Goodbye.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I'm done.
Yeah.
No.
He's resorted to race.
You don't have to kick him, but it's very obvious what his talking points are.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was clear he was being dishonest. He was gish galloping all
Yeah, there's
over Okay, militia
said
is a
ladders.
group of citizens who are trained to fight and can be called upon to serve in the military when needed. So anyone, literally almost anyone, is part of a militia. His definition of a republic, a republic and a
Democratic and a
democracy
republic.
are the same thing. Democracy, and also
But the
more
term generally
accurately.
is democratic hyphen republic.
Yeah, cool.
So what I was
And
trying
then you can
to
put a whole nother
Yeah,
one
sorry
after
if I
that,
kicked him too soon,
capitalism.
but it was just
No, you're good,
going
you're good.
nutty.
What I was trying to
It was-
convey to
the
him
room was
before he
always full
started
anyway.
gish galloping and changing the goalposts was basically it's not feasible. I don't think it's feasible for us to outlaw all guns, but I
No,
think
it's just
there's
assault
no
rifles.
good exactly. There's no good faith argument that anyone has brought up to me besides their fun is for
Well, see,
assault
and they are
rifles.
fun.
It's
Like,
funny you
they
say
are
that, Jess,
good
because
faith.
I had that same
Oh,
notion
yeah.
until I married into a gun family, and then that's when I learned the whole other culture of enjoying how it feels to shoot. And even there's an animalistic urge that's fed also hunting in particular, but neither of those have been talking points to have dismantled from the American government, from the Democratic Party, but the straw man not straw man, but the boogeyman has been that's what we're going to do is steal their guns, not steal, but come up to their homes and take their guns. It has never been a proposition, ever, ever, ever. I thought it was masterful that Harris outlined that she's a gun owner and so is Waltz, and they're still continuing with this lie about them coming for their guns.
I mean, they did that with Obama. Oh, he's gonna take your guns. They did it with Joe Biden. They're gonna do that with Kamala. Hope she wins. That's never happened. No serious Democrat would ever literally make that as a policy, and I don't think it should be a policy. I think, like, I agree with you. It shouldn't be. I think there's no good faith argument for why anyone needs an assault rifle. There is none. Nothing that you could say besides it's fun. It's nothing you could tell
Do
me.
you understand that an assault rifle is not the most dangerous firearm that a civilian can buy, right? It's not
According
even
to
the most
us, it is
conceivable.
though, bro.
No,
And
it isn't.
according to
It's
professionals, like gun owners
have you ever
themselves
fired
outline,
them for?
it's got a definition what
Right,
makes it an
owner.
assault rifle.
Okay, so you know how quick you can.
So, without getting into like gun lessons here, I'll just give you. You guys ever heard the FN-57?
Nope.
It's a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
It was designed to be
Can you
more
pull the
lethal than the
thing?
9mm. It can penetrate
Right.
body armor, class 3 body
Nice.
armor.
Cool.
Right.
And you
So,
can
cool,
you can get
right,
a
yeah,
pistol.
so-
You can hold on, let me
Yeah,
finish,
what's-
Rich. Let me
what was
finish.
the-
You can fit that in your pocket, right? Or okay, maybe in your holster, right? And conceal carry it. Hold 23 rounds. Shoot it with far more accuracy than an AR-15.
Oh yeah.
And be more lethal than with an
Yeah.
AR-15.
And your point is?
So what is your point?
My point is that everybody's focused on AR-15s, but they're not looking at it holistically. Maybe
Well,
they need
think
to
about it as
No.
automatic.
ban like more.
Sounds like you need to
high
propose better gun law,
lethality
but until you
weapon.
do, this is the one we're going with.
So
Okay,
Lil Maniac,
9mm
hold
is
on.
the choice of civilian ownership.
Lil Maniac, hold on. Let me give you a counterpoint to that. So it's a 23 it's 23 bullets, so you can kill if you're really accurate and they're all within a very very close vicinity of you, 23 people versus an AR-15 with 100 rounds.
Well, they have
And
30
you know,
An AR-15 doesn't have 100 rounds.
They're
I
30
only
rounds.
said
Y'all gonna play with the semantics.
30
This
rounds.
is what
But
they
still,
wanted
it
you guys to
doesn't-
do.
No,
Don't play
Tiva,
this game.
Tiva,
The
we-
fact is
Tiva,
assault rifles is what
don't-
worked in
Tiva, don't
many
talk to
other
me, bro.
countries already.
I'm speaking
That's
here.
all we want to do. But to the Republicans
You're-
actually propose another law or bill,
What's
you
the
guys
term
don't
for
have a
what Tiva's
fucking shot
doing,
in hell.
Maccabi?
So here's the thing.
Yeah, no,
So,
that, I
look,
mean,
I'm responding
I-
to his rebuttal to me. First of all, you stated that an AR-15 has 100 rounds. It doesn't. No AR-15 has 100 rounds.
It doesn't matter.
Typically, they carry 30 rounds, and a lot of times the magazines are smaller, especially in some states that have limitations.
Who cares?
A 5.7
I
carries
okay,
30
guys,
rounds.
guys.
Second.
The thing is that gun laws, the better way to do gun laws would be instead of taking away the guns, it should be licensing them out in a like we do with car licenses.
Yeah,
Maybe you get a
insurance. Have you guys heard
different,
about
better car license to where if you have more not violent guns, more exotic guns, you get like a different license, like they do
ARs
with
aren't
bigger.
exotic.
Yes,
Okay,
dude. On purpose
okay,
semantics,
but-
I'm telling you guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I too smart for you?
I mean, No, it's-
Just to realize
your
that the
tiny
definitions
brain.
don't
No,
matter.
wait, why is my
We're the
brain
majority.
tiny?
We don't
no,
know about
no,
guns.
it's because
Sorry.
your username.
We know about you.
I think,
Okay.
like, really, you're onto something good. I think maybe the way we would do it is saying certain calibers you need to demonstrate a proficiency.
Yeah, absolutely.
AKA get like a license.
And prove you
before
have a
can
gun
go say
safe and things like that.
Right. So before you can buy a 5.56 or a 300 blackout, maybe you have to go through
What's
safety
an MSR?
training, FBI, background check, things like that to get a license to have one. But maybe you can own a 22 cal without any restrictions, right? It's more
Can I
about
ask a
the
question?
lethality of hold on a second, Andy. It's more
Yeah.
about the lethality of the bullet than the weapon, the firearm itself, because the firearm is just a psychological thing.
So
If
do what
the-
Switzerland
the,
does and allow guns.
the example I gave
ban
you is the
the
FN
ammo.
versus the AR-15. The FN is actually more lethal.
I mean,
Yeah,
to be personally, a lot of us don't give a shit about guns. They just know that guns are killing people at such a high rate. It's insane. And that not only that, but people are not safely storing their guns. So little kids are picking up their parents' handguns and shooting their own brains or their sister or whatever's brains out.
And that's why they're going to jail now, which is good. Finally, the courts
After
are
the
standing
fact.
up and putting them in jail.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
but
it's the right
also
thing
there
to do.
should be more laws to be like,
Right, but
hey,
okay,
you should
Marco.
register. If you have a gun, you should have a gun safe. You should have
Yeah.
maybe before you buy the gun, you should have a quick survey to be like, hey, has this person had any psychological issues in the past? Have they had any domestic violence cases that are more than hearsay, that kind of thing?
They already do that,
So
but
Sometimes they
but
do
it's
that.
enforcing them.
It depends on what
Yeah,
state.
so the big problem, though, the big problem in our country is the fact that guns are in our Constitution, and so that right there makes it really difficult to make laws about them because it's like, well, it's in the Constitution, so that needs to be amended. That amendment needs to be amended. I don't know. I mean, I don't think we should take guns away.
Yeah, nobody should be taking. Nobody's talking about taking guns away.
Right.
They're
Exactly.
anyone that is saying that there should be
But-
laws against certain guns are gonna grandfather in the old guns.
Yeah. So yeah.
Can I make a
we're
point,
not
a small
talking about
point?
taking them away.
Well,
can I
Andy has
actually-
been talking, had his hand up very
Yeah, we-
politely for a little bit. Then you're next.
So,
Yeah.
what's an MSR? What's that stand for?
I don't know.
Because I just looked it up with what you were saying, and it says, how much can an AR-15 hold? Without modifications such as a bump stock, an AR-15 can fire around 60 rounds a minute. A 30-round magazine is fairly standard with MSRs, but ammunition magazine drums holding up to 100 rounds can be changed in just a few seconds.
But a drum. Have you ever seen a drum? It looks like the old Tommy gun.
I know what.
They're not
yeah.
small. You can't conceal them.
But the
Oh
point
yeah, you
is,
can if you put
an
them under your
AR-15
jacket. If you have a good
can-
enough jacket.
You don't have to
Yeah.
conceal them if it's legal.
No, not the Tommy gun drum that he's talking about that holds 100 rounds. You
the
can't
point
Let me
is,
see.
it can
It'd be
hold
very
up to
difficult to
100 rounds, and
Yeah,
it can be
exactly.
changed within a few seconds, which is contrary to what you said.
I'm gonna
Wait, is
get
there
on an
access to
FBI
conceal
list.
So okay, I'm
Um,
gonna tell
My
you this.
petrol
though.
tank can hold 30 gallons, but I only fill
Andy,
it up to
Marco,
20.
can I-
Andy,
it'd be a really
you gave me a
quick
good
response.
rebuttal.
one second.
Great.
Let
I'm gonna give
let
you a
little
rebuttal.
maniac go. Then you. Sorry.
So you can a
Oh, look at
Glock
that, 100
has
rounds.
the same what do you call what'd you call
Stop
it again?
Tommy gun.
I can hide that.
The can,
I
Tommy gun
understood that
can.
reference.
You
Oh,
can
yeah.
get one for Glock too.
That looks like a
You
frisbee.
can't hide that, see?
I can hide
I'm
that.
sure that's true.
No, see?
So that
Hey,
means
quit being
any
a wise
gun,
guy
Good
over
criminal,
there.
see?
any gun can hold up to 100 rounds, which is
So that's
contrary to the
so
to the
Andy, the
rebuttal
point-
that you used, which was
So the point,
an AR-15 can only hold 30 rounds. That's not
it's not
entirely
it's not
accurate.
It's not contrary. He was trying to
You
use that as
started
that
the
a pistol
semantics.
couldn't carry that much, and they basically can. The magazine, people come up with creative ideas for magazines. They come up every day, right? People come up with innovative
Sure,
ideas.
I get that. But your
You can't
argument,
make that illegal. It's my constitutional right to have a drum.
But But Andy, I want to point this out to you really quick. Does this
I-
look like
listen,
something somebody's
I
going to
know
walk
nothing
into a
about
store
I could hide that.
and not-
Absolutely.
and not be seen?
Yeah. Remember the giant trench coats from the original
Terminator?
No,
Just put it in my Frisbee golf bag.
Oh, the Columbine.
Columbine. Yeah.
Oh, Columbine.
Yeah.
Oh, those guys
not
could
that
fit.
big.
That's not that big at all.
Span
This
trench
right
coats.
here?
I could fit 5 of them
guy's
in a
about
bag.
6 foot, about 6'4". The guy's about 6'4". That's high cut.
Look at that. You know.
All I gotta do is put it
Jesus
in a
wept.
backpack.
200
Oh, look
So
at that.
would you if you had
That's
one.
look at that gun. That's
Jesus Christ
ridiculous.
on us. What the heck?
Come on.
But again, these things are specialty magazines. These are not things that you normally buy. And
But
take
no,
down
but
at
if
the
somebody wants to do a mass
Nutcase.
shooting, they can get one of these online or
if you
3D
scroll
print.
How
or
they could
something.
3D print one of those?
That's
Kirby,
what-
scroll down a little bit, right there. Stop next to the wrapper.
Ooh,
on the
sorry, bud.
left.
Look at that. 100 rounds.
You see the Glock with 100 rounds.
That's not even a drum.
That's crazy.
Okay.
But that's what I'm
Let,
getting at, is that an AR is
How
not
looks like a
anymore. There are pistols that are just as dangerous or more dangerous than an AR.
Okay.
Well,
Let
yeah.
me
That's the only point I was
let-
making.
let's let Tiba have his point that he wanted to make. Go ahead, Tiba.
Well,
Yeah,
again,
yeah, sorry,
quick.
Tiba. Yeah, give it to Tiba.
It's just it's really quick. It's just that the semantics that he tries to drag you into, and I've heard this conversation with other Second Amendment folks, is a fallacy, because like you don't have to know all the particulars of a thing in order to regulate it. For instance, all of us drive cars. None of us really know how it works completely, but each car is registered, and you have to go through certain certifications for licensing to get a car. So having to know all the nuances of the different
And it
types
has
of
to
guns
be
and drums is just not
tested and
necessary to
everything.
legalize it. They'll figure out the language necessary, and assault rifles is what most other countries have already outlawed,
Well,
and
until
they
the
have no
Chevron
more
doctrine
fucking
was
mass murders in
eliminated.
those countries.
I'm all for regulating. I said it to Markovi when we actually discussed
Wait,
this.
Yeah.
and I
isn't
even said it was a
regulations
good
more
idea.
government?
I don't know why you keep dragging
no,
me
but
into like
no,
he
it's
does this. I'm all for regulation.
yeah,
Regulation
no, it
equals
should
bigger
be.
government.
That's fine. No, I agree that he is. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page that they should be licensed, and that is it should be a lot like cars. Not everyone can drive a giant, shipment style
Tractor
truck.
trailer. Yeah, a
So
tractor trailer. You gotta
Yeah.
have a
Difference,
special license
though,
to
is
drive a
that-
tractor trailer.
yeah, that's how it should be
we
done.
don't have
I
a
think a
constitutional
good
right to drive
question
a
is
car.
what drives
That's what makes it
regulation now.
difficult.
If those vehicles are operated in the public and they have different classifications of the vehicle size,
They do.
based on how much damage that it could give, or if you need more coursework and you need provability based on the higher classification of that vehicle. The weapons are operated in private, so I think that's why they're not as regulated. But what should drive that, line to
I'll
kind of
search them
dictate?
for you.
Thank you.
So
Where are you?
the right to drive is not in the Constitution.
Curious.
It's a privilege.
Where is he?
But
got
the,
him.
the right to bear
I killed
arms
him.
is in the Constitution, and it's a given right of every American citizen. Now,
Brandon,
what I was saying to
and that's the
Markovi and to the
problem.
group earlier is that we should regulate it, right? They're similar to a car or automobile, right? We talked about the tractor trailer versus the SUV versus the two-door sports car, right? What firearms have different lethalities, right? The calibers of the bullets have different lethalities. So
lost.
if you put the firearm chassis aside, right? The
I'd get rid of
AR-15
brand
versus
if I were you, darling.
versus a hunting
thank
rifle
you.
that uses the same caliber, and we just say it's the caliber
Hiding
that's
behind the wall.
regulated, and we say if you want to be able to own a 30 cal, right, something that can shoot 30 cal,
Interesting.
regardless of the chassis, then you have to go to certain trainings and you maybe some background, additional background checks, and then you get a license.
You lost up here, sweetheart.
Would
I'm listening.
would bullets be considered arms,
BAKAI.
or is that
Got him.
something we could
Ammunition.
regulate?
Well,
Yeah,
I would
the
put
That's what I'm saying.
bullets
You'd
at the
regulate the
bottom
caliber
of the
of the
classification, right?
of the ammunition. So if you want a 30 caliber, which is
You
highly
should,
lethal,
but here's the difference. So you should
So
be able to
ammunition's
regulate
not
the
considered
firearm
arms, then it's not
itself, though,
protected via the
because
Constitution.
I see
so
what you're
you can
saying
still
about the lethality of the round. However, the amount of those, even if the round isn't as lethal as, say, like 5.56,
Or a rubber bullet.
right? the fact that you can get so many of those less lethal rounds off in a certain amount of time, that is a problem. Because
Okay, well,
it just
Rich, I agree
it may
100%.
be just as lethal as a single, 5.56 if you can get a bunch of rounds off at a time. So,
So, Rich, I
the
agree with you
vessel,
100%. The
so that should
point I'm
also be
making is
regulated.
that a lot of people don't understand. They see the chassis, it's imagery in a person's mind. A 9mm, if you get hit with a 9mm, you're gonna die, right? If you get hit with a 5.56, you're gonna die.
From a half a
what's
mile
the
away?
difference? If I hit you with a 9mm, you're gonna die. If I hit you with a 9mm, you're gonna die.
So
From a half a mile away?
So maybe I misunderstood because it sounded like you were
No,
arguing
we're talking about
to not
school
regulate
shooting,
the
like
chassis.
gun violence.
Mhm.
Nobody's shooting from like a half
No,
mile.
but the
It sounded
9mm
like
from a half a mile away doesn't have the same impact it does from 5 feet away.
Right, but what we're saying here is, this we're talking about gun violence and school shootings and stuff. People aren't shooting
Uh-huh.
from a half mile away.
Right, but
But
I'm trying
if
to
you're in
figure
a
out the
like
lethality of a
a
caliber.
long hallway, like a school hallway, somebody who's further away or maybe even behind a locker or something has a better chance against a 9mm than
I'll tell you
something else.
Well, sure, the AR, the 5.56 or 300 blackout would have better chance. 300 blackout is actually more deadly than the 5.56, but the
does it have a
5.7, which
Hemi?
is a pistol, is actually will actually penetrate those lockers better than a 5.56 or 300 blackout.
So
therefore becoming more lethal.
Little Maniac, do you believe that
require a
people,
hunter's
every
license
single
for higher
person
lethality weaponry
needs to
or,
know
ammunition.
this?
don't
Like the
know.
whole
I'm
thing
just
is
saying-
the people who make the
A hunter
laws.
should.
Yeah,
A hunter should.
A hunter should.
And they should get a license.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm saying like lawmakers should be able to hear this once, make the laws, and then let it leave their brain. Because it's this argument.
They can't do that
is
anymore because
necessary.
of the Chevron doctrine.
Yeah, no
Here's the
shit.
thing about making laws.
If
Here's
you
the thing
have
about making laws is that
One at
it's
a
if
time.
you're trying to take something away from somebody.
They're not taking anything away.
but-
Nobody
but
wants to take
if you're
anything
gonna
away.
make a law, if you're gonna make a law to restrict
your right
something,
to
then
an
you
abortion.
need to understand what you're restricting, because what happens is
No, not when
people
it
will
comes
make
to
the
guns. It's so almost like computers. You don't need to know the exact chips that are in a computer to understand how to restrict and make laws on the internet. Like it doesn't have to be exact.
If you the point I'm making is that if you only regulate ARs,
What kind of
somebody can
code
pick up a
allows your
pistol
icon
and
to look
shoot
like that?
just as
Do
deadly
you-
and as the AR is what I'm getting at.
Do you think that you
every
are ever
weapon-
going
every
to be?
firearm should be regulated equally? Because here's the difference. So here's the thing with cars, right? So we talk about, okay, well, cars need licenses. Well, what were cars designed for?
Can't drive a tank on the road.
Transportation.
Transportation. Were cars designed for the purpose of killing? They were not. Weapons,
West Killing
firearms, on the
people,
other
they had
hand,
to
were
regulate it,
designed
right?
for the intent of killing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a secondary
That
purpose to a
intent
gun?
No,
should be
sorry,
regulated.
you're going to be leaving.
Yeah, looking
man.
Dropping
Like
bomb.
the form
Got him.
factors in,
Dropping bomb.
the fact that
Done.
the
Bye.
device was designed
Good
for
catch.
the purpose of killing, that's what should be regulated.
I
Hi,
agree
big
with
boy.
you. I told you that. I believe in regulation.
So I gotta.
Yes,
I want to
but
queue
we're
up for a
talking-
point
but
here.
You keep making it sound like, well, this caliber and this
I got him.
firearm all different. No,
I'm gonna get
they
this too.
are all for the purpose of killing. They should all be regulated.
This one as well. Well,
Yeah,
You're in the wrong
They
room.
should be regulated equally, like the same background checks, the same everything across
And
the
they are
board.
today. There's a federal law that you have to go through a background check.
So then, what are we arguing about here? 'Cause it sounds
guess
like you're
there's-
talking about
all right,
something.
I'm gonna-
Somebody was saying
gonna
that.
offer
I think
something here.
the
Ham
gentleman
has
over
been
here,
trying to.
Jazz,
Ham has
was
been
saying,
trying
Jazz
to
and
make.
Chiba was saying that
Let-
the
let-
AR-15 is so massively dangerous, which it is. And all
Well-
I was saying, I did not say that it wasn't. All I was saying is that I can get a pistol and be just as dangerous as somebody with an AR-15.
Okay.
All I was saying.
Okay,
The only point I
let's
was
ham
ever-
talk.
Well,
I'm a
that's-
veteran.
Ham
you
talk.
know what I mean?
Hey
In
guys,
general,
Jesus
I
Christ,
wanna have an
everybody, stop.
AR-15.
Him has had his hand raised for 50 billion years.
All right, so solution focus, right? Say we make it to this classification system, right? At the bottom pillar, we have class 4 of the responsible, weapon owner. right, of the least qualified, but they're still presented themselves as being responsible, and they're able to own everything that uses bullets, right? So everything that's below a certain caliber, let's say 22 caliber, the little tiny bullets, up to, let's give them some wiggle room and say 45, right? So this could be, this could be a handgun. I mean, you probably have like 36 rifles for hunting, right? So there's your class 4. But if you're, ambitious enough to be class 3, right, owner, you can have everything in 4, but you can also possibly be someone that's, let's say, a hobbyist with 50 cows. So they've acquired everything that they, can use. They went through the training, right? Just let's say their annual training to do so, and they can shoot it in their 50 acres and their own private land and their own private, property. And then maybe you have a class 2. I'm curious what this looks like to you all, just presenting some of these. And I want to get to mortars and bazookas and grenades, because if we're going to, encompass them all, you should have some top tier responsible owner of these things, right? So if you're able to
double hitch semis, yeah.
Right. So if you're able to present yourself as having the right storage means, making sure that there's a closed off, unaccessible part from the rest of the family of this room. It's just you're the only one with the, access somehow. Then maybe you're, responsible enough to have those items in your 50 acres of private land as well, and shoot those as well and fire those off as well. But I'm curious, what does this registered class look like? Let's say solution focused, if we got there to that point. And how do we monitor that? And
how do I vote for you? Monitored through the ATF.
Yeah, right. Of course, but we also have to acknowledge
buddy,
that
can you speak?
we do go through every one of these.
There we
we
go.
do go through every one of these checks to
Thank you.
get our, permits for these items in each county. If you move to another county and you didn't, transfer on day one, then you're kind of you're not lawfully owning or concealing that pistol, right? That handgun, right? In that new county that you moved to yesterday, you're unlawfully, in possession of those. And how do you even, monitor or keep up with that? It just becomes so, so much.
Like
about
a driver's
people's
license?
private
Can you speak?
affairs, like a driver's license.
So
if you
you could
happen
do-
to catch it
Yeah,
on the
they
person
can
in a
let.
traffic
I'm not gonna
stop and
go
they
crazy
don't
for
have it,
kids.
sure.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
Solution
not
fo-
any. Are we gonna mail you in a monthly form to fill out a questionnaire? Is it how trivial is it, for the person who's become, I'm not going to be a digital nomad anymore. I'm not going to, mess with any electronics. You're just going to have to mail it to me.
Regulation basically means, and I like where you went with this, but
Yeah.
I said it earlier
I'm
too,
interested.
right? Yeah.
I have no there was no one way
Regulation-
about it.
Regulation at this level, to make this work, would have to be a collaboration between the states and the federal government that says, hey, we have one standard similar to driving, right? If you got a driver's license, you can drive in the entire continental United States, right?
Right.
Speed laws and things and penalties can be different, but there are basic laws and regulations
Structure's the same.
that go
Right.
across the entire
Top
country.
Yeah,
tier,
our
you can
current
drive
problem,
diesel,
though, is that
gasoline,
Like a law license.
there's
triple
the
trailers.
NRA
I
has
get that.
such a big lobby that there are no rules that are getting passed through, and any
Right,
rules that we have, they want to repeal them. So it's right now this getting into the details is
Which
kind of
is
mute.
ignoring the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
think
Andy,
it's like a
good
let Andy talk.
forward-
He's holding his hand for a little bit.
If you read the Second Amendment, it is quite clear. A well-regulated militia. Now, a well-regulated militia, you do have. It's called the National Guard, right? Well-regulated could be. You could take that as regulating the guns, but you don't do that. being necessary to the security of a free state. Does any of you guys who are all gun things really believe that a country is going to invade America anytime soon, and that you are going to be called up and needed to grab your guns out of your cupboards and rush to the defense of the state? Do you
We got a
think
few
that's
oceans
really going to
saying
happen?
no.
It does
Do you
say
really
it'll work.
think that I'm not finished?
No,
Do you
definitely.
really?
I don't think any reasonable
No,
person
of course.
would.
No.
Right.
Do you really think that you or any other gun owner is going to, other than January the 6th, which, if you look at it in a kind of way, they were pissed off that, well, it's a tyrannical government, the election was stolen. They all went down to the Senate and absolutely shot themselves. Do you think that this idea that you're all going to get your guns and rush down to overthrow Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or anybody is a real prospect? Because if you don't, then you might as well just ignore the Second Amendment and get your shit together and sort out gun rights and gun control. Because if you think that having more guns in America makes you safer, you are nuts. It doesn't make you safer. It makes you more scared. It makes you more prone to killing innocent people by domestic violence, where a gun owner all of a sudden goes, well, I'm not happy you say that, bang, shoots them. This is what happens.
Are you done?
That's a
Can we
great
respond,
point to
or-
your
Yeah, I am done.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That,
go ahead.
those sound like two different things.
Just from a step back, it did sound like the having more in America is one thought, right? That's one school of thought. But also, let's say that so many people have them for recreational use, right? That's a different school of thought. But to think that people are going to invade and everybody should grab your guns is another school of thought, where I personally know a lot of people who have said it, and right, they're probably a bit outdated with their I guess logic there, because they probably watch too much
fear-mongering, television, right? So that's what sells, and it can form their belief system.
You're not
right?
wrong.
But right, so I think that it is definitely a few different pillars to look at with that, and you bring up a great point about, yes, if we're looking and dissecting that single pillar about if you think people are going to invade and we need to grab our guns and go, well, if that is justified and that is the case for that person and society, then would it be necessary to have an influx of weapons to those private citizens to defend their homeland? Maybe, sure, right? But that's such a small case study that's probably not a rational, formed idea here. But it is popular and blown up. Now, this other, just standalone, more weapons be thrown into the country and just kind of influx the, population.
Elder!
Probably not. That sounds very bad. So I disagree with that, right? So I wouldn't say that by any means is a standalone
Talking of arming
statement.
teachers,
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, seriously, arming teachers in school. More guns means guns don't make you safer. They just don't. Do you know one of the advantages of having good? I mean, I would be all for getting rid of all the guns, because then anybody that's got a gun is the bloody criminal, and then you can get him. That's how it works over here. If you've got a gun in our country, and my country's not the same, and there are vast differences. I understand that, right? But I know for a fact, if I know somebody with a gun, they're a criminal. They are a criminal.
And that's the case in its entirety.
Elder!
In your
I'm
country,
better than you. Shut up. Is that
I'll
the
find
case?
out who's being a butt. Or
I
I
didn't know
won't.
that. If that
Is that the
He's
case?
in the UK.
Oh,
He's in
it's-
the
Yeah.
UK.
Okay.
Yes,
So
it
if
is.
someone has one,
if
they're an unlawful citizen. If they have a weapon, they're an unlawful citizen. I
there's
looked
more
at Germany
chance that there'll be an unlawful
before
citizen.
the cops did not even have like firearms on their person, and that was pretty,
right. So
interesting. But it's a small. You think about it, it's the size of a state
itself on average.
Oh, it's
to
not
50
even the size
or
of the
so
state.
in territories. Some of these European countries are smaller.
Okay,
They're
who is that?
comparable to some of these
I'm gonna just start deleting
countries that are where it's
well, it wasn't
more
them.
regulated. It's
Fuck.
more.
it's easier to maintain, right? In some of those countries, I would say.
But and to implement it and to test it and then to bring it back.
I am listening. I'm just zooming about a bit.
United States is a pretty huge landmass to kind of.
You do know that there are many European states that per capita are better armed than the United States. The people are more armed than the United States, and they don't have anywhere near as much gun violence as we do per capita. Part of the
Counter, of course, that's a good counter, and I would be interested to see the data on,
Norway,
Switzerland,
Sweden, Switzerland.
Andy, I do have a argument against your UK ban.
Well, you're not allowed it.
Okay, well, look right here. No bears are not native to the UK and have been extinct for over 1,000 years. We have bears and wolves and
listen.
and elk.
I absolutely.
F you up.
This is what I was saying. I mean, my country, as I said, is vastly different to your country. You do literally have legitimate reasons to have guns.
Mhm.
Absolutely. However, elk don't carry AR-15s.
Do one.
But if you want to make elk into sausage, AR-15s. No, it's kidding.
Well, yeah, but it would be better to make them into sausage when you get home, rather as it's sort of like wombling about the forest, going, "Oh, I'm an elk! I'm an elk!"
Yeah.
Bang,
Hey,
I'm now a sausage.
Americans love lead poisoning, so that is
Well,
great.
ain't that the truth?
So about what makes you safe, right? So if you have all of these,
an abundance of them, are you more safe or probably not? But what defines the quality of
being safe, I think that is a good question to ask. And is it armor? Are we talking about to prevent physical harm to your body? Probably the more concrete and steel you can put between yourself and any other potential hazard is, probably
again
what defines quality of safety.
Yeah, I mean, again, my country is vastly different. I mean, I've lived in this house 17 years. I've never locked my door ever.
Mm-hmm.
I can walk around the street without any fear of being shot. I mean, it's not unheard of. I mean, there is gun crime in the UK, but the beauty of it is we know they're criminal. If somebody shoots somebody or somebody's got a gun, we know they're a criminal. We had a school shooting in 1998 about 30 miles away from me, a place called Dunblane. That week, I think, those particular guns were banned. You can own guns in the UK if you've got a legitimate reason for owning them. Hunting is one of them. I live in Scotland. We do there's a lot of hunting of Americans coming over wanting to shoot bloody deer and stuff like that. And haggis, interestingly enough. And as Elder will tell you, haggis hunting is quite popular over here.
You actually want to use a smaller caliber because they're smaller,
you do.
Smaller animal. Yeah,
Well,
you'll just obliterate them though.
But it just seems from
Their
the
feathers will
rest
just
of,
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
we don't have
great.
feathers.
If they wanted to, for example, go and throw a grenade, on a Saturday and try to just target practice with grenades,
how would they go about doing that? Would they have to?
They wouldn't. The police would be down on them so hard there'd be a hole in the ground.
No, they would bring up the.
You're not allowed a
inquiry.
grenade, dude.
Right. No, I understand that. But if a YouTuber with the right amount of money or something wanted to go and ask the government leadership, hey, I'll pay your, whatever it costs, or could your military
no grenades, no bazookas,
give me a training session?
No assault rifles, handguns, rifles, shotguns. They even banned air rifles. I used to have an air rifle, or what would you call it? I think you call it a BB gun.
Airsoft.
Yeah. The little circles.
It fired little lead pellets.
Yeah, BB guns.
And they got banned about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Maniac.
Hey, this guy is trying to speak right here. Give him a chance.
Yeah, Maniac can. I think we derailed a little bit. can you give me a legitimate reason why to own something like not counting the lethality of the weapon? What is a legitimate reason to own something like an AR-15?
It's a
Wouldn't
very
recreation.
it's a very convenient rifle in the sense that because it uses a magazine, and it's not the only one that uses a magazine, by the way. You can load and you can reload really quickly, right? So
An
and also
AR,
you can carry a lot around.
so a very convenient rifle in the use of
Usage.
what? What are you gonna use it for?
You can use it for hunting. You can use it for sporting. It's again, you can use it for many things that are totally legal.
Shooting
Okay, so
pumpkins.
so specifically for
Pumpkins.
hunting,
people.
how is that any
No,
different
not
than
that.
something
For
a
the
higher
roof.
caliber than a single shot, either a shotgun or even a single shoot, single
No,
like
good question. So you can get what like if you think like the old school rifles that you hold that don't have the the modern receiver, right, that we know today, like pistol like receiver, right? You hold it like this. In today's world, it's 2024. Those also have magazines, so they're not one shot. Those can also shoot a lot of rounds too quickly. So that's the argument that people make in when they say that the AR-15. That's why I said the AR-15 is just a chassis, right? It's just a style and a look. And yes, it is more convenient and ergonomic, right? It is true, than holding a rifle like this. But holding that rifle like this with the exact same caliber and being able to carry easily 30 rounds, it's just as lethal.
Can I explain?
Wait,
the question?
1 second.
Well,
Elder had
where
his
was
hand
it
up.
going with the question originally, like beyond that point?
I have no idea. Okay, Elder, did you have something to say?
Sure.
Sorry, you had your hand up
Sure.
earlier.
I guess my view on it is much like speed limits. If everyone was a perfect driver, I don't think we'd need speed limits at all. But the issue is people tend to suck at driving. So likewise, sure, I think everyone should be able to have nuclear weapons. But how do we measure if they're ready for that? If they have the proficiency? I think it's really comes down to, well, is the general public doing well with firearms? And if we look at the U.S., I have to say we're all a bunch of fucking idiots because we got a lot of school shootings. Maybe we're just not responsible enough yet to have those firearms.
My minivan goes 100 miles an hour.
Years old.
Right, I'm all for
Got a
regulation,
minivan that
right?
goes 100 miles an hour.
You might not have been here when we had this discussion. I discussed it with Markovia, I discussed it with several of these gentlemen here. I'm all for regulation, and what I said was my recommendation was, hey, let's regulate based on caliber. Let's put the chassis aside, right? Because again, I just gave another example.
Matters, really.
But hold on, let me explain why. Because just as I explained to this gentleman here, I can get the traditional style rifle and still fire 5.56. Right, so the 5.56 is what makes the AR-15 dangerous, right?
I would
It's the
say
caliber.
the ability to put rounds down range quickly is what makes it dangerous.
You can't, but Elder, if you know anything about guns, then you know
Also-
that you can get an old style
Yeah, he does.
rifle that shoots 30 rounds just with just
Mirko,
pulling the
at some
trigger,
point I'd like
because
to
they're all
ask a
magazine
question.
based now.
You let me
Okay,
know.
okay.
Smurf, I'm gonna get
the
away.
bullet and
Also,
caliber.
Catch you later,
So
darling.
maybe it's the
See ya.
magazine. that's the
Discussion
problem.
again.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's you put the chassis
Right.
aside.
So the capacity
right?
to put rounds down range quickly makes it more dangerous. It's the
Yes.
people that are idiots and irresponsible.
And
They're
there's
the
some
ones that
states
shouldn't
that
have the guns.
Lumaniac's
have
point is all bullets
regulated
are equal,
capacity.
and capacity and lethality, no matter what size of or caliber, or you can modify a handgun to be as capacity equivalent to an AR or a drum. We've seen it in the images there, or a 22 could fire, 1,000 rounds in 10 minutes if you did the math and reloaded at your leisure, equally as fast as an AR-15. If you put 1,000 rounds in 10 minutes, you could achieve the same result.
Let's
One may
let
be
John
I think
talk
there is
but
something.
for a sec.
I think there is something to say.
Sorry.
Hold on,
Yeah.
one quick
One
point. There
quick
is
point.
something to say about the accessibility and the access to an AR-15. It's not a coincidence that AR-15 is the preferred choice of weapon for mass shooters because of how cheap it is, how quickly it is to put bullets down range, and how accessible it is. To be able to buy that type of gun, it's not exactly super expensive. It's kind of actually a pretty cheap weapon to buy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I think it's that. Okay, John had a
John. Yay.
I think
Don't
just a
have to
follow-up
lock it
question,
up,
what you were saying is I think you at one point said, why do we need an AR? Why do you need an AR? Why does the average American need an AR-15? Why does the average American need a gun that can kill people, lots of people, very quickly? We're not at war. We are a country of gun owners. We understand that. That Second Amendment. Understand that. But why does anybody need a machine gun in their fucking house?
That's a great
So,
framing
you
of the
ask me?
question, but you should. I think it's all open.
No, and what I
right
also
now.
want to know
But-
as a follow-up, I'm sorry, what I also
Yeah,
want to
no.
know is like real world experience from the people in this room. Like if somebody comes and wants to steal the car stereo out of your car, do they deserve to die?
I want to back up
that's
to
my
your
premise. That's
earlier
my
point,
premise.
and I get
No,
it.
I think it's the same
Yeah.
thing. Like
With this whole idea of framing the question, and I believe you said something to the nature of, needing like a machine, a rifle like that, like an AR-15. What kind of reasonable family needs
or
one?
feel we deserve.
Or feel yeah. Could a guy say, hey, I can justify why I would like to have this armory of non-traditional, arsons, or I mean not arsons, but of just basically like AR-15. Let's say they had an AK-47, they had a sniper rifle, 308, and all kinds of random different guns. They can justify that. Hey, I actually prove I'm a reasonable person. I've passed all of the, psychological exams. I've gone through all of I kept my permits up to date. I've never lapsed on, them actually expiring or anything. I've never had
Good
any.
job. That's a good job.
I've never had any disputes with my neighbors, all the way up to, beating, a spouse or a children or ever made threats to anyone or myself. And if you were able to, have a clean record like that, sure, you can maybe justify that you would like to support your hobby because you're better served doing a hobby like that in your private land than being cooped up, and that's your one interest that you can't pursue.
Okay, we're gonna
politics
let
and,
atheist go.
I don't know.
Cool.
I feel like that's two different schools of thought.
I don't think that answered my
Hey,
question,
John,
but
yeah.
that was sorry.
Sorry.
I just had a question, just mainly
No, that's-
stemming from the root of did gun laws in America not initially stem, or the right to bear arms not initially stem also from the ability to fight the government if a citizen ever decided,
No.
or a group of citizens ever decided that was
No.
the option?
And I'm sorry, Murkov, but somebody needs to clarify
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
factual.
yeah,
what
yeah,
he just
yeah,
said.
yeah. That's fine. You're letting him do his whole statement and not jumping on him,
Right.
which is fine.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
I just
no,
think
I'm saying you're fine.
If I'm wrong, I'd like to know.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it, John.
Yeah, the right to bear arms has nothing to do with us trying to defend ourselves against our own country. The right to bear arms was given to us, and so that we could legally arm citizens of this country to fight against the oppressors, the British. We could form militias legally. That was the right to bear arms. This notion of us having guns to defend ourselves against our own country is absolutely nonsense. Sorry, someone else.
Yeah, it doesn't actually say that second part that a lot of conservatives say of in case the tyrannical government.
We could carry arms. The tyrannical government is the king of England,
Yeah.
not anything
It's
else.
a separate government, not our own government.
Is it safe
the
to
key
have
term there is the security of our state, right? It doesn't specifically say who the threat has to come from. I mean, when you look at countries like Venezuela, Cuba, and how communism or socialism took over, I bet you they wish they had guns now.
True. I'm talking about the U.S., the United States of
Right.
America. I don't think that.
But remember, if you
does it not
disarm
say
the United
for the
States, then you make it vulnerable for a tyrannical government to just like the other countries do.
I think we're in a situation
Says
right now
free
where we're
wait.
vulnerable to a tyrannical.
The security of a.
But, so you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to go back to
Right,
your
but we're not
That
to, we're not
is-
to the point
President,
where
wouldn't
we
you
wouldn't
want
to
all
bear
of us to
arms.
have
Ratification.
That would
guns?
fall under what I said.
to go back
Ratification
to
Act
answer
of
your
New
question
Jersey
about
has no commas.
do we need an AR-15? I
I
don't
feel
think
like that would
anybody
follow
needs an
under what I
AR-15.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
my
I think
position
I
changes
agree with
if
your
Trump
point.
becomes president. Then yes, we should all
Because
have
if
guns.
the government was to infringe on the
Okay.
state's freedom, I feel like the reason we would have arms is to prevent that. Like, it's in the Constitution.
Atheists, I feel like it was a lot of like different groups where, tribes and empires and, finally we started to get to these different populations of what we consider nations, sure, states, whatever. Or, being able to fight and take what the other person had and trying to, I feel like this is just my thought, but,
That's what the
they
Second
would
Amendment came from?
impose on different nations to take what they had if they weren't being able to trade it kind of, mutually, amicably, then, the fact that they put in this law that says, look, everybody can have these, maybe that was a way to kind of mute and make people kill each other less. Once they were like, okay, look, we can all have our stuff here. Let's protect this boundary, and we'll call it a day because we're allowed to have these. I mean, I think you're going to create a black market if that's not there and if it's not regulated. But yeah.
Okay, I've got a point that I've never thought about until just now that it just solves, like, I have solved the Second Amendment issue. By that time, we didn't own everything. Like, look, like, Spain was there. Like at that point, we could be invaded by our own continent. We cannot have that happen at this point. Like even if Canada were to do it, I don't think Canada would or could, or Mexico. There's no chance of that happening. But look here, when these laws were made of a free state and things like that, we didn't have Manifest Destiny happen yet. We didn't own, all the way to the Pacific coast. So, it changes the context so much, I think. But that's just me trying to feel smart.
I mean, I would kind of agree with that. It changes in the fact that there are regions that are in the United States which would have guns to protect themselves against. Like, we would be fearing that, but wouldn't it also be like have this residual fear of your neighbor? Because we had issues between the states.
I think that's a good question. Yeah, and that's where I was going with this.
Didn't agree with each other.
That's why I
that
asked
also
the room. When I asked the question about do we need an AR-15, I was asking the entire room, like, when was the last time you felt like your life was in danger to the point that you needed a freaking semi-automatic weapon to defend yourself? I've never lived. Maybe I've lived in great places that are not dangerous, but I've never had the need for a gun in my life.
I would agree with that.
Somebody also said, well, we can have guns. It's our right. But I'm just saying, why would somebody actually need to have an AR-15 for what purpose? To defend yourself? I'd like to know. Everybody, we should go around everybody in this room and see when the last time you were threatened to the point where you would shoot someone and kill them.
If we're talking about
that's a low bar.
and things like that and danger,
That's a low bar.
I mean, a
That's
Glock
one.
19 is the way to go, not an AR-15.
I would question, does
that kid plays too much Counter-Strike.
the possibility matter?
I've never felt the need to own an AR-15, other than just because I can own one as my privilege as an American citizen.
And that is definitely
But I do keep a firearm simply because you never know what's going to happen, and you want to be able to protect yourself. Because the truth is, everybody thinks law enforcement's going to come and save them, but law enforcement takes a long time, especially in our current state where, we're defunding police and there's less of them. And
nobody's defunding police. That's actually a myth. Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Not only that, the people who are like, hey, we need to. No, there's not. Literally the people that are like, I want to have guns to defend against tyrannical government are like, we should give cops tanks. So it's an ever escalating issue. And it's like, what the fuck? Like there are cops
It
that
does
have,
become a problem.
yeah, there's SWAT teams
does
that just
become a
have
problem.
fucking tanks.
Cities are
That's just
bigger.
cool. And
their
it scares people. It scares people
population-
into
Yeah.
making them want to be more defensive.
Exactly.
Population is more dense than it was before, right? Especially where I live. I live in a big city. Population is more dense. You know, if you get into an altercation with, say, a bad person, right, a criminal, or a person from another country who may have ill intent and they happen to have a firearm, you want to be prepared, right? It's not that I feel at any moment that I'm going to pull it. In fact, in all my years of life, I've never felt once the need to pull it. But you
Little
own it
Maniac,
just for
where are
that
you
one
from, by
thing.
the way?
I'm in Florida.
Okay. I wasn't gonna say. I was gonna be like, man, crime isn't that bad, and it's like, never mind, it's Florida. There's Florida man everywhere. So yeah.
But it's to understand that not everybody who carries a gun is like some gun, Second Amendment wacko,
You know what?
right?
There are
It's-
alligators
there
in
are legitimate
Florida.
reasons.
I will give you the fact that you need a gun.
I think it's also important to say that, me personally, I have a couple of really amazing kids, and I don't want to live in a world, and I want to convince myself and others, hopefully, that we don't live in a world that requires that we have to pack heat. I don't want my kids to think that they've got to have guns to protect themselves. In the United States of America, now in some places it's pretty bad, but where I live, it's not. There's probably more school shootings than there are like home invasions where I live.
Mm-hmm.
But I think hope is part of this. It's and for people to, maybe not you necessarily, Lil, but for people that need to like have guns to protect themselves in the event that something's going to happen, you're thinking that something's going to happen. Whereas for me, I'm thinking all's going to be good. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe we're half right.
Do
I
you
don't know.
wear a life jacket
So I
because you
want
think
to
something's
be.
going
I'm
to
hopeful
happen?
like you that I'll never have to use it, and I've never had to use it, and I don't ever feel.
Oh my God,
at least
that's
to date,
it's
I've had
fantastic.
to use it, right?
It's just,
But think of it like insurance.
It's like having a life
but
jacket
do you
in
wear,
your boat
do you
just
wear,
in
it's a
case
just like
a
do you
insurance.
whole
What do you
wear a
wear
life
insurance?
jacket when you go fishing on
Yeah,
a
but
boat
do-
because you
You
think
trust
something's
that the
going to
vessel's
happen?
gonna transport
Not even
you
that.
and your family and your
Like,
friends across
You could
the
you get
water
drowned at any
recreational
time. You never
activity.
know when you're gonna fall
But
in
Yeah,
the water.
it's
yeah,
just
if you have
like
a
you
pool,
Do you
have
wear a
life
life
vest
jacket 24/7?
in the bin just to be no, it's the case
don't wear a
like
gun 24/7.
That's
Lil
not a
Maniac
really
making.
good
You have
analogy
it
at
just
all.
in case.
You're talking about, well, I'm carrying
But
a
John
gun
Biscuit,
versus
I
a
want
life
to Big Sky. I want
I don't wear
to
Why
guns
don't
do
you
the
wear
same
a
thing with my
helmet? You can
family.
always bump your head.
I want
Sure,
my
that's all
family
they
to
do.
know, my kids and wife, that hey, we're gonna live in a
But
world
it would
without
be
guns.
be
We don't
ignorant
need one,
to
but
dismiss
I
that
will.
there is
I
gun
could
violence
have
from
one,
criminals
just in case,
out
and they'll
there
never
that
know.
you could be victim to.
Yeah,
People are
It's
victim
times
of
of
that.
essence,
but I get the
right?
sense that we're told that. We're told
Yeah.
that. We're told that we need to have a gun. We're told that we need to be
No,
That's
I'm
military.
not.
we
I'm
would
not the type
disagree
of
with
person
that
that
as
somebody says,
Okay.
"Hey,
yeah.
you need to do this." I do it. It's a fact that there are crimes there. Look at Chicago, right? Look at New York. There are definitely crimes.
Do you live in Chicago? Do you live in New York?
I've lived in
Say
Chicago.
say we
long time ago.
did. I don't know if it changes.
That's my
Wait.
homeland, Chicago.
You brought up New York. That is not a state that is very dangerous
Despite
due to
regional
guns. Yeah.
specificity.
I grew up in
I
Illinois.
didn't say there's
The
a difference
fact
between
that-
guns. I was
You
just
live in
saying that you could
Wisconsin.
get.
Mhm.
Wait, can you
crime.
show Ohio?
Yeah.
It's Ohio. Where's Ohio?
I like
Ohio's
the
right
old map she brought up earlier. It
Oh,
said
shit.
unclaimed territory in the upper left, right? So if you think
That's
about
where I
those
live.
guys,
That's
That's
where
where
I
I
live.
right?
live.
So think about
Pacific
that-
Northwest.
back in that era. If they only had bows and arrows, right?
He was
and
in
they
here
were just a
earlier
little
that said he lived in
tribe that
Ohio and
was-
that crime was really bad.
That was a different
they
guy.
were happily going about their lives full of
In
hope.
Ohio?
They never used them.
I'm not
They
sure
used them
Ohio
only for
actually
hunting.
exists.
But they
It
had rich
exists, I live
soil
there.
and all of the fruit and veggies. If people came to take that, because there are bad actors, if other bordering nations thought, hey, this is unclaimed territory, we can go and get what we want, and it's a very rich soil. It's fertile for so many reasons: meat, leather,
Let's say you live
clothing.
in Texas, right? You live
They
in
could go
southern
and take
Texas
it if
where
they
there's a
had
lot
the
of
stronger,
cartel
bigger
activity.
weapons.
Are you saying those people shouldn't protect themselves?
From what
They should.
exactly?
The
Lobster
potential
has his
of
hand up.
cartels,
Lobster.
crossing, coming over and creating incidents.
Do you
No,
have
they're
cartel?
too stupid.
I actually don't
No,
really know.
no,
I'm
no,
asking.
I'm just
Hey guys,
saying
one
there's a
conversation
situation.
at a time. So yeah.
But do you
I'm
actually
saying
have
there's
cartels
situation-
in Texas?
Yeah, they do.
Or are they in
of course.
Mexico?
I I think they
Despite
crossed
the
the
bad
border.
actor, I think
No.
the
But
president
anyway,
remains.
well, the point I'm saying is that there are legitimate reasons to carry one, and you're not a wacko just because you carry one.
Where did you
Right.
say you're from?
I'm from Florida. I live in Florida now.
Whereabouts in Florida do you live? I mean, it's a big state. There's a lot of
I just live in
variability.
Florida.
Oh, you just live in Florida?
Yeah,
Keys.
but
You're in the Keys.
no, if I was, I wish I was
All
in
I'm
the
saying
Keys.
is that, like, you're talking about, like, well, if I lived in South Texas or if I lived in South LA or if I live in New York, those places are dangerous, yeah? You live in Florida. You've not lived in those places. You've heard things about them.
Does that matter? I'm confused.
I don't think that rabbit
all
holes
that
should be
I'm saying,
explored.
maybe
Regional
this is not a good
specificity
argument.
shouldn't
I'm not
apply.
sure, but I just don't think everybody needs to be.
It's not a
fucking
good
having
argument because you're
more
basically
people
saying that
more people die from accidentally shooting themselves in the face or shooting somebody else accidentally than people do shooting people that invade their homes.
But he's
Yeah.
arguing the
I know
general. You're arguing the
So,
specific.
but
It's
I think
not
more
gonna
people
work.
die from gang violence when we talk about gun violence from gang
No,
interaction.
I don't.
They
I
shoot
don't.
themselves.
Wrong.
Why do you think they have so much firepower?
I'm looking at right now.
Because
Here we
this
go.
country loves some guns.
Let
Little
Lobster
Maniac.
say.
Yeah, sorry.
I would
He
think
was
Maniac has.
he had his hand up.
Oh,
Lobster,
there you
you
go.
wanna say?
Sorry.
The question I have is like when people say that they want the gun to protect themselves, I do find it interesting that statistically you're more likely to die of like a heart attack, but yet I've never met somebody that carries a gun that also carries aspirin in case they're having a heart
I do.
attack. But statistically, wouldn't that be more likely to like keep you safe?
Do you carry an
I'm
EpiPen
not at
too?
risk for.
I carry
I'm not at
aspirin
risk
and
for a-
EpiPen. I carry all that shit in my
allergic to
car.
something.
Oh, and you're well. Okay. Well.
Most
You guys
people
usually
do
with
have
the
that.
fist, it depends on where you live.
Did you
I'm
understand what he just
where's
said,
it
though?
going?
Did you
Most
understand
people are not
the
at risk for
statistical
heart attack.
reference that he just made? Like,
Yeah.
well, the chances of you getting killed by somebody who's, mad at
Should
you.
we outlaw alcohol? It kills
It's-
more people than all gun violence in 10 years.
Well, maybe we could talk about that. I'm a little buzzed
We're,
myself.
we're not actually acting. We're not saying you should outlaw guns. We should just restrict it like we do alcohol.
I agree. And I said I agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Basically,
saying. I
he's
don't know.
challenging.
I am
Severe
a little
license
bit
is
angry
severe.
about the New York allegations because they do that to
like, don't you
California
think the
too.
restrictions on alcohol are not as
Correct me
restrictive
if I'm
as
wrong.
they should be.
But what I was saying to this gentleman here is that just because you own a gun doesn't mean that you're crazy or that you're some wacko. That's I think that's an extremist point of view, right? To try to
Right.
belittle somebody else because you don't believe in it, right?
Most of those people aren't credentialed
the
either.
person-
Not that I don't believe in the
Is
firearms.
the person
it's
who was
that I
trying to
don't believe in
regulate
you.
ammo in here still?
Shouldn't
You
the
don't
fines
want-
for
The
alcohol-related
royal,
incidents
not
be
you
higher?
Hey,
You have to
More
be
stringent?
credentialed to drive, to drink, to own a gun. You have to be credentialed, and most of the bad actors that create these crimes, right, that are straight up robbery, they're on a black market system of getting things behind, their own back
So
doors
shouldn't they be
and
punished
their other
higher, I
connections.
think?
Well, they probably are if they get caught, but those people who operate on their black market system in the neighborhood, and they know the other neighborhood that they can, barter, this for that with, I feel like it's safe to say that, we can frame our argument with all of these different statistics, but I think that your bad actor is going to come from that system. Sure, there might be more accidents that are actually tracked by way of a hospital call that has to lead to stitches and, a documented case of someone accidentally shooting their toe off when they were going to put it back up into the safe or whatever have you, or a kid grabbed it and put a bullet through their, God forbid, on head. But there's a lot of untracked cases that we can't prove with statistics about these gangs or these bad actors who are taking from others, because that's what it all comes down to. Is somebody has something else that I have, and I can't get it without doing this.
But
or,
it like nowadays,
threatening
especially
with this.
like people who like literally like are like the crime that would the amount of money you'd get by mugging someone is so low in comparison to somebody who's just gonna drive around and grab Amazon packages.
Yeah.
That it doesn't
Well,
seem worth it. I
What's the
don't
reward
think
for
that's
these people that are going out in mass
killing. They're looking for some type of notoriety, right? And
Yeah.
it's sick.
Yeah,
They
but that's
really
not
is.
the same people
And
that are. That is the school shooters who
Yeah.
usually die in
They're
doing
taking
it.
their lives, right?
Yeah. Though that's not the same as you're saying. You're
Mhm.
equating that with muggers and things like that, or violent crime,
No,
and
it's
it's
a
like
matter
those.
of
That's
being
not
able to
even a
have
thing.
one. Really, it's just really the
We've
ability
all
for
agreed
those
that
who
it's
want
like,
to
I guess
go
if you're
and get a
licensed,
credential.
fuck it, you can have a
The
gun.
ones who want to abide by these by these rules, right? The ones who really are good actors in good faith, and they take all extreme measures to protect that right because
they cherish it, and it's something that they can responsibly manage, right?
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead.
Atheist next.
Hey, so John, earlier you were talking about regulating ammo. Pretty sure was that you?
No, that
No,
wasn't
it was somebody else.
Okay.
That was me.
Who was it? Maniac?
Yeah.
Okay, question about when you say regulating ammo. What is your take on shotguns?
On shotguns, I think that's a highly lethal round, and we like driving an automobile. You classify the ammunition in a class and say if you want to be able to own this class of ammunition because of what it can do, then you have to take certain safety courses, demonstrate proficiency in using it. One of the most dangerous things about firearms is that you get a lot of people that go out and buy high caliber weapons and then they can't handle it, right? So you go get some guy out there that says, oh man, I need a 45, right? A 45 caliber. They go out and you see them at the range and they're all over the place because they can't handle the weapon.
No,
That's
to be
dangerous.
fair, and I'm a strong gun advocate. Maybe it would be one issue because there is no restriction on, hey, once you get a certain age, or do you touch a gun or not, you can go in the store and get a gun. And you know how to operate it, and you can get ammunition. So he really has touched on something that, and I am a strong advocate, but maybe a requirement for initial training if you don't have any or some kind of certificate. Because you're right. You're absolutely right about this.
Yeah, we've actually pretty much agreed on that. Elder, you have your hands raised so politely.
Yeah, I think requiring firearm insurance the same way we require vehicle insurance would probably put a solution into motion. You see,
Are you in the insurance agency?
No. Right. So if you make it so that firearms require firearm insurance, right? The entire system of insurance companies that are doing firearm insurance, they now have a financial reason to try and make firearm deaths, injuries, what have
To make
you,
it safe.
Yeah, they now have motive to actually start pushing for different laws to make these things less likely to happen. So I think if you want an effective method of actually getting the ball rolling, requiring firearm insurance is probably the first step, because then private corporations are going to be trying to make the changes themselves.
Yeah, that would be an effective way to force regulation, right? It's the insurance companies will start to take metrics and they'll talk about best practices, and then they'll rate you, right? Just like they do for automobile. Yeah. And that would be a good way to enforce who could have what class of ammunition. Because again, as we
I think your class of ammunition thing's stupid, but yeah, I mean, we both agree on my idea.
Hey, we all agree that there should be more laws on the general area of guns and ammunition, which is more than the NRA will allow our current.
If you want to kill someone, you use a 22. Caliber doesn't matter.
That's why I draw the caliber. Because I really don't see caliber mattering. Like,
no, it really
doesn't. For all you
want to look up
people
the
that are really good at shooting,
hits, assassinations,
for all you people that are really good at
is the
shooting,
weapon of choice.
then you should be able to use a pea to kill somebody.
I'm saying,
if you're really good.
If you're talking about an assassination, then sure. But if you're talking about random violence,
acts of violence, if you want to kill someone,
I can run through them all with a
22.
22 headshotting a bunch of people. I guarantee you.
Those are two. Yeah, if you want to
People
talk about
won't be able to do
regulating it for safety,
My ex was a hitman, so
if that's
I promise you, I
knows some
could.
shit.
It's not. That would not be difficult.
I agree that you can use any caliber to defend yourself in those circumstances when compared to a caliber that ranges on the spectrum to a very, very large caliber or something that's more that can, fire at a higher rate, right? A single shot of a 22 could do the trick, right? If someone came up and they had a bazooka by some means, right? And they were like, hey, I'm going to wipe out this whole area of the mall, and one bang, that one guy out of the 50 in the crowd could aim back with the 22 and neutralize the threat, right? But for the guy who wants
But
to
the fact that guy
not
had a
even
bazooka
go
in the
into
first
those,
place.
yeah,
Fuck
but
Looney
that's
Tunes world
because
are you
the
living in where someone
unregulated
walks
black
into a
market
mall
of
with an
where these
RPG?
the unregulated black market of
But
this,
it's
none of
never
these rules
happened.
apply
It's
to.
like not a
Only in
thing.
Gotham.
Wait, what movie is this?
And
Yeah, he's playing.
right.
He's thinking about the
But
Dark
that's how
Knight.
they acquire it,
He's in
right?
Gotham.
So let's-
True Lies? Are you
let's
talking
just
about
say
the
a
movie True
shotgun.
Lies?
True
Or
Lies. Yeah,
whatever
that's
it
what I
is.
thought of. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Birdshot,
True Lies.
shotgun. You can change
Living
the
in Gotham
narrative,
City,
but
dog.
still the principle is yes, I agree that no matter the caliber, you could have an AR-15 right instead of the bazooka, and regardless, they acquired it most likely by some means of not being a rule follower in the first place, right? So none of these restrictions and all of this stuff applies to them, but it makes it more difficult for those responsible bearing guys who walk around in like grocery stores with them. Like, God forbid, you look like a tool, right? But still,
But it kind of
But they
sounds
wouldn't
like
be
the,
because it'd
it
be
kind of sounds like the
gun-free zone.
it sounds
Yeah,
like the
yeah, I've seen it.
qualifications are not exactly that hard to acquire whatever you want,
Yeah.
in
They
military.
would be
I mean,
following
they're
the
not
rules, so-
But to make it
legitimately.
more
You're talking about
difficult
how we should like really be
would be effective.
we should all you especially was really well done. What you said was that I followed all of the requirements. I've done all the
Mhm.
things. I'm a good person. I'm a
Then
good.
they, yeah.
But I think
Despite
that
however many regulations,
legitimately, I think other people could also say that same thing and get a
Mhm.
firearm or get a
Yeah.
bazooka.
Yeah, it is.
I don't even
proven.
understand how this is a conversation. Like, we have statistics on this. Countries that ban firearms have lower death rates from violent crime. Like, it's
There
not
has to
even
be a
it's
country
not
where
even a
it's
question.
contrary.
But
as
no,
well,
but
though.
countries
Elder, I
where
think it becomes
the
cultural.
population per
Always
capita is
It's
better
hard to
armed than
get
the
away
US,
from the
and they still
cultural
have lower
aspect.
gun violence than we do.
I love
Cultural
the
is an
statistic
excuse.
conversation and
It is
stuff
an
because
It's a
it's
fact.
always
It's not an excuse,
equally
it's a
and
fact.
opposing.
We
There's
always
always
have
No,
brought up
him,
the
there's
argument.
not. No,
Why
no,
should
no,
we
no, no.
stop
Yeah.
having slaves? Like,
Andy,
culture is a
our ex,
stupid
actually was the one that brought up the
excuse.
argument, and
It's
he actually agreed.
I don't think so, man. I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think that it would, and I've been to Europe only once, but the Europeans are a little bit different than they are here. I mean, culturally speaking, like they don't, not politically.
They're not doing bath salts and eating each other's faces off and
Well,
like
there's a
robbing
lot of
people
crazy
at
shit that happens, I
mass.
think,
Yeah.
in Europe.
That was
but one
only
thing they
one
don't
time.
have is like people shooting
Yeah,
each other with guns all
sorta.
the time.
Right.
And so
I
when I say
agree.
it's cultural, what I mean is that, like, yeah, like most of the cultures in the across the globe are not. They're gun less gun heavy, weird, like crazy.
Right.
We just love
And
it.
their quality
We
of
love
life is increased. I agree.
Maybe
I've
they're
been
saying
there.
he isn't so
there's a
violent
lot of
because
other
they don't
social things
sit
that
there
go along
thinking
with
to
that, though.
themselves, if I really wanted, I could go and shoot this person if I really wanted, because I do have a gun.
Or
Yeah,
the
what leads to
constant
Like,
that?
maybe
fear
that
that
plays
because
on the
all your
psyche a little
neighbor
bit.
has guns,
Mhm.
the worry that, hey, my kid could go to school one day and not come back due to that. Like, kids are so screwed up due to that
There was a
trauma.
good Ramstein music video about this.
I think there's high mental health issues in the U.S., and that definitely plays a factor in violence. In
I actually
Let me
do
ask you a
think
question. Do you
lack of
think
resources
that
and-
there are more mental health issues in the United States than there are in France, or Cambodia,
I
or China?
don't know, friend.
It's a question.
I don't
Like,
know.
well,
I never
it's
looked at that.
well, no, I think, but that's a good thing for us to look
Yes,
at, because
at
when
this
it comes
point,
down to
yes.
like violence, and when it comes down to people, in schools shooting each other up, they're always like, and a lot of people are like, it's not guns that kill people, it's the mentally unstable people that kill people, right? But
So
you just said, like, in this country, we've got a lot of mental health problems. Do you think they do?
But the people who say that also go like, oh, we need to take care of their mental health and things like that. I'm not going to offer any solutions whatsoever, and you should not fund universal health care. Everyone should just have insurance through their jobs. But also, it's mental health that's the issue, and they're just going to be crazy people, so people are going to die.
Lil, you didn't say that, but the Republican Party is you seem to be going for the Republican Party, who is the same thing. They're the ones
I would never be political.
Kill people. People don't. Guns don't kill people. People kill people, but they shoot down. I mean, Trump. I don't know in the debate how he
We gotta
said
ban the people.
that they try to
Yeah, man.
amend the
I think
Affordable
you're
Care
right.
Act.
I think
they tried everything to shoot down
here's the thing, like,
the Affordable
people
Care.
are
They
always
don't
going to
want
kill
people to have health
people as
insurance.
long as they don't have a lot of
They're
stuff
fighting
around them
against
to do
universal
it.
health care.
If you let me answer you.
I'm sorry,
If
just
you
take
ask
the
me a
knives
question-
away and the guns away and
Wait,
stuff,
hold on.
they'll still try and
So
kill people.
you asked me a question.
They'll have to do it with their
Knives
fingers.
Yeah, they won't be as effective, and that's
They won't
the
be able
point.
to like kill 15 at one time. Yeah.
So you asked me a question.
It's harm reduction.
And I think.
Go ahead.
I think you guys are you guys keep pulling out things like, oh well, these people always say this too, but if you're doing the same thing in that you're saying that we're so armed and that leads to all this violence, their country again, I'll say it again, and even Andy RX, who's European, confirmed it. There are countries in Europe that per capita are more armed than us, and they don't have anywhere near as much gun violence as we do.
Yeah, but they have social safety nets and also like healthcare for it's the healthcare.
Yeah, they've
the
solved
mental.
So can't we do that? Can't we do that here too?
Yes, we would love to. I would love to. I would love to,
Well,
but
that's the
there's
point,
one
right?
party that says no. And this is a two-party system, and consent matters when it comes to that thing, apparently. And, yeah.
It's up to us, the people,
to
bridge the divide.
No, there's not. No. The government should be handling this. Are you a...
But who is the government? The government is the people.
And half the country continue to vote against it. Don't you
Yeah.
understand? How are we supposed to get universal health care when the Republicans won't vote for it at all?
Yeah.
They want nothing to do with it.
But Ruben, when you say things like that, that polarizes the conversation right
No,
away,
but it's
right?
true.
No, it is
It's fake
polarized.
facts.
This country is
If you're
polarized.
looking
You
at
realize that?
the political platform of each party, that's what matters. That's
But I think
the
we should-
word for policy. Politics is the same word. Come on, it's the root word. Policy and politics.
If you're unwilling to, reach out across the aisle. And say,
Oh
"Hey,
no! But no. What do you mean reach out across the aisle? They will
So,
not have
Rubenators-
the people who say this believe that taxes are unjustifiable. That taxes are a violation and literally violence.
But that's not everybody. I know a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
Republicans
yeah.
and they don't think like that.
I'm curious.
There are
if
some.
That's
To be
one,
fair, Maniac,
to your
there is
point,
no
Mark,
appetite on the conservative side to do any.
I think what you have
gun
is
legislation.
a growing sentiment where in our country we're getting more polarized, where you're taking extremes and that's spreading
Mhm.
right, like a disease, right? But I
Mhm.
can tell you, I live in Florida and they're largely Republican. Most people believe in the same things we've all been talking about gun rights and gun control.
Okay, but why is it not in their
wackos that people
policy
keep talking
then?
It's
Why-
there's no appetite on the right, especially with how the NRA lobbies most of them, and I disagree with the people on the left that get lobbied by the NRA as well, but there's no politician on the right that calls himself a conservative that
Today
has
there aren't.
any
Today there aren't.
Today there are.
Okay. Do you
We're gonna
think
vote in less than
that
3 weeks.
Right, but
Little
Ruben,
Maniac, do you
we-
think
we
that
have to
these
go
labels are just arbitrary, or are they based on policy? And sadly, those who go like, I'm a Republican who believes in healthcare for all and stuff, they're just ignorant about what
I've never heard
each-
that statement, actually. You just said that I'm a Republican who
Those are
believes in
the
universal
extreme
health care
ones.
for all. I've never heard that statement ever. Is that a real statement? Republicans actually care about that shit?
That's
No?
what
Seriously?
he's saying.
Oppose it, right?
I know.
Besides
Skipping
but-
Lobster, get on the
Yeah.
couch.
Sorry about that.
I feel like it
It's
could
hard to
also
see
be
you.
an acknowledgement. There could be some optics into acknowledging what it looks like to have a universal healthcare system where all the healthcare workers are taxed a bit more at the top, and then all of the ones in the mid and bottom of their career in the totem pole there aren't getting paid as much. They're all getting paid equally the same, and the system kind of crumbles. It's a quality issue. The level of care, you're often being told to go home and take aspirin, drink water, take some ibuprofen, and sleep about it. Your quality of care diminishes, right? So let's say you're not living in the best neighborhood and outside of Atlanta, right? And getting that premium dermatology doctor and general practitioner and all of these premium experiences that others are in your small town.
That is a
Yeah.
false way of thinking about it. The way we would fund it is not the same as we would fund schools. Do you know how schools are funded?
You would still have private institutions, like the option to go to a private school.
There's always the option to do anything private. But also but also you have to. Do you know why schools are bad locally to urban areas?
I mean, there's definitely a lack of resources.
No.
Yeah.
It's all paid.
Courts
Because it's
lift morale.
Schools are paid by property taxes, and due to redlining, that's why the schools in urban areas are so underfunded. Is because they're all in shitty property areas where it's all rentals and stuff.
Values low.
Yeah. We wouldn't healthcare. There's no reason why it would be funded like that. It would probably be funded by the state, or not funded by the state, but allocated per state, and by population area. So
I could see how that.
Can I ask a question?
1 second. Skipping Lobster needs to talk.
Yep.
For the love of
I was
God,
just gonna
let
say,
this man talk.
When we talk about reaching across the aisle, I think a perfect example of why that doesn't work is Mitt Romney came up with a healthcare plan that the Republicans loved, and then Obama took that and made it into Obamacare, and then all of a sudden the Republicans said that it was the most evil thing on the planet, and they all hated it. They just will hate anything that the Democrats put out on principle. It doesn't matter what the actual bill is.
Because the Affordable Care Act was based on Mitt Romney's plan that he had when he was senator or governor. Where was he?
Massachusetts, I think he was
Massachusetts, right? Yeah. I think he was the governor of Massachusetts. He put out a health care plan that was great. As a Republican, Obama took it, edited it a little bit to make it the Affordable Care Act, and all of a sudden every Republican was against it.
Okay, John, then Little Maniac.
Yeah, I'm
Can
sorry.
you Google something real quick while we wait? Just Google during Obamacare, did shootings go down? So I'm curious to see if having.
But wait, we still have
That's not
Obamacare.
universal health care though.
Well, just Google any version
It's
of it that we've
affordable
had
care.
close
It means
to it.
a lot of people were able to get it.
That's the closest we've
It doesn't
gotten.
mean
John,
everybody
are you gonna
gets
say
it.
something?
We need
I was going to say
that
that 70 million Americans now have health care because of Obamacare.
And not only that, but some states don't actually have the ACA. A lot of Republican states have denied the money, so
by and large,
it doesn't. We can't look there.
Success.
Is there a country that does have universal health care that we can compare?
Oh, absolutely.
They also have
We
the
shouldn't.
right to
We
listen,
shouldn't.
though, that they have
We
the right
should
to bear
not,
arms
because
and to see if it's declined if it's helped reach those bad actors, right? And increase their
France
weapons.
has universal
Canada
health
has it.
care.
Yeah.
The United States is going to have universal health care times 500 because we're the shit. We're the best country in the world. We're going to take those just like you said, somebody said that Obama was adopting Romney's policy, right? Why not? Let's do this, right? That's what's we are a badass country. We are a badass country. We're not going to be like universal health care, right?
Yeah.
We're
gonna do
this
it.
right.
Go big or go home. Do
I
it
think
great.
we're
Do
gonna do
it right.
right here. Yeah, we'll do it right.
And then hopefully,
and
to
everybody should
effectively reach those
We're going to
contribute
keep
to
fucking
this.
people over here in the United States for about another 10, 20 years, right?
I'm curious
What are we
to see on
fucking
this
people over
on this
for?
map here if they
So,
also
no.
have the right to bear arms. Would be a good comparison. On
I
how
mean, of
effective
course, they
universal
have
healthcare and right to bear arms.
They have the right to bear arms. It's just that it's not as there's not as much of a gun culture. But I can guarantee that except for
That's true.
the places that are actively in fucking war,
Canada, look at them. They're our neighbors. They have it.
yeah, their
And
gun
they
violence is
cannot
way
have guns,
different.
I
Well, to entertain that the fact that Canada somehow would have more gun violence is silly.
If you got more
No, I'm
moose
not.
violence,
I want to genuinely
moose
know if
violence.
it's
decreased, their
bear
gun
violence in
because they
Canada.
have
Yeah.
it.
More bears, more moose. in Canada.
So
Yeah, they have polar bears. They deserve guns.
I'm looking for justifiable evidence.
To be honest with you,
That was the
this-
first
this
time
map-
I've heard all night somebody that said something about deserving guns.
Yes.
If you live where there are polar bears, that's when you should have a gun.
Exactly.
You know,
Sorry.
going back
this
to my
map is a
statement,
little
Heavy
embarrassing.
Heavy
to
farm
be
is also
honest.
to do with wild hogs or something.
What is?
Wild boar that.
This
wild-
map is a
wild
little
boars,
embarrassing.
Oh,
The
yeah.
fact
Oh,
that
yeah.
We're one of the only developed countries that doesn't have universal healthcare.
Yeah,
like,
look
you
at
know,
all
a lot
that.
of these countries are what's
Fucking Algeria
some-
has it.
Some candidate called shithole countries, and they have universal healthcare. That's
But anyway,
embarrassing.
Nobody wants to say his name.
about, what I was saying about Trump. I mean, everybody knows who it is, right? It's Trump. But anyway, what I was saying about reaching out to Crenshaw, I wasn't talking about reaching out to Mitt Romney, right? What I was saying is talking to your neighbors, talking to your colleagues. These aren't like, people that you don't see. Well, I don't know where you live, but like we've got a big melting
Same state
pot
as you.
down here in Florida, right? There's a lot of Republicans, there's a lot of Democrats, right?
A lot of Republicans.
A lot of
These
alligators
could be
and old
family,
people.
these could be colleagues, right? And if you can't talk to them, then that's something I think we're losing, our inability to talk to each other.
But a lot of
Or
the times,
communicate
if you were to
that.
bring that
Yeah,
up,
bro.
they would say communism and socialism, and that you're literally Hitler.
It's
But then you can have
voluntary
a
to
conversation
have
like what
these
we're having,
discussions.
right?
Hold on a sec,
You
Mark.
pull them aside and say,
There-
let's have lunch.
I don't
We
think
can't do that. In it just.
I don't think that this bro over here is talking about like people in the old folks' home rolling through with their go kart.
Okay, okay.
I love Trump. I love
No.
Trump.
Oh, no.
Rainier's
No.
point
Keep
is
in
that
mind.
discourse
In
is making
Florida, but
progress, and we're doing.
I want to
it with
give I want to give some props to this guy, Lomaniac, because he is like consistently speaking like truths. Like, why shouldn't we be able to talk to each other? And we're like, blah, blah, blah. But he's consistently, we should listen to this man.
Yes, he is.
Move on.
I appreciate his optimism. I agree that most of the people in this room are very involved in politics and very cynical because they are aware of the current political climate, which is we are suffering from the ratcheting effect of we're going more and more right wing every election. Like right now, Kamala Harris is going more right wing to try and meet the Republicans where they're at, and that's not working that well for the campaign.
No, I was just gonna say it's funny. A couple of seconds ago, he's like, "Oh, no one's saying the name Trump," and I think the reason is because that name is so polarizing. And like you
Yeah,
said,
we're
we are
trying
having
not
a
to
good
polarize,
discussion
yeah.
here, and having a discussion about healthcare and whether healthcare should be universal. And it is, like you said, a good discussion you have to have with your neighbors and with your other people and people on different sides. But once you say the name Trump, that's it. It's done. Because Trump doesn't want any of this. He's the most polarizing. You talk about, having civil discourse. This reminds me of the discourse that if VR was around when Obama was running against Mitt Romney, that we could have had this kind of discussion where you can have policy discussions. There's no policy discussion
Hey,
we have.
Rubinator, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If let's say I'm a Trump supporter, or I'm opposite of what you are, whatever it is politically.
Well,
and you're
that's two different things, though. That's that's what I'm.
Hold on. I'm getting to that. But that you're like, I'm a pretty liberal, like progressive thinking, and I work in the tech sector, or I'm, I just think it makes sense that I'm pro choice, all these things, and then you walk up to somebody and they're like, well, what do you think? And they're like, okay, maybe I think I'm these things, but what if I were to bring up like a giant monster-sized fat creature that just like was like, that's what. Okay, that sounded really bad.
Apologies.
Yeah.
Oh, and you recorded that. That's great. But what I'm saying is that, like, even if you think that Donald Trump is a total douchebag, no, sorry, not
Well, you've been
douchebag.
smoking.
Even if you think that he is a monster, as long as he is a monster on your side, you're okay with it. That's why we are where we are, because everybody there knows that he's a monster. He's done so many bad
I don't know.
things.
See, as far as I'm concerned, we used to have two political parties. We used to have Republicans and Democrats. We don't anymore. We have Republicans, we have Democrats, and we have MAGA. And in my opinion, the MAGA and the Republicans are two different things.
They're
To
the
me,
same thing now.
Republicans,
They're the same
not,
thing.
Well, no, I don't
No,
think they are.
no, I understand what you're saying, but
for lack of a better term, the Lincoln Project. Okay? Like,
which is like a sliver of the party.
it's like I still don't agree with anything the Lincoln Project wants, except for the fact that they don't want Trump. Like, we all talk about Liz Cheney like she's like the goddess of whatever because she's a Republican who's anti-Trump. I wouldn't vote for her for anything. I mean, on her policy-wise, I don't agree with her on anything. But she's got the common sense that a lot
Can
of
you give
At
me an
least she
example of one of her
believes in
policies?
democracy.
She
Summarize the
voted
Lincoln
on Trump
Project.
policies 97% of the time.
Wait, you don't know what the Lincoln Project is?
Anti-choice.
What is it? Yeah.
I think it's the gay wing of the LGBT wing of the Republican Party.
Like, what is their mission?
The Lincoln Project are true Republicans that don't want Donald Trump. They put out some awesome videos.
Oh, I'm thinking of the log cabin
also Trump.
Republicans. My bad. I'm thinking of log cabin.
No, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, I get your
Lincoln Project are people like Liz Cheney. I forget who the other big guys are. Like Mitt Romney. People that are true Republicans believe in their anti-choice and their small government and all that stuff, but they hate Donald Trump and realize how polarizing and what a criminal he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pro-democracy organization.
I gotcha. I'm not sure if I would identify with liking or supporting any of
I
the
think
candidates.
Will
I'd like to
Maniac.
have my
Well,
own.
actually, I don't even know if you would
view, you know?
because you want universal health care, and that's honestly not a Republican policy. They don't want universal health care.
Yeah,
I know.
There's many like liberal and conservative things I can agree with, but there's many that I disagree with as well, like on the conservative side, and you know, so I think I couldn't identify, and I don't publicly, with any given belief system because you can throw every single policy at me, and I can kind of make my own based off of my life kind of decision on how I think it goes, and I can't. I'm one of those that's not planning to necessarily vote, and it sounds terrible, but I think, you know, I've made my mind up. You know, it's so expansive that neither one can cater, so you have to make compromises and vote anyway for something you don't believe in is kind of you know. That's kind of unfortunate,
I
very
can't. No,
unfortunate.
I disagree with you 1,000%.
And with what
I think you're being
I've
honestly
said
you're being
many
a coward.
things, but
You're being, if you don't vote this election, you're a coward.
To be fair,
You're what?
I don't
Go
think
for it,
we
Howard,
would
come on.
want him to vote. But that's rude.
Well, you'd
I'm
be
saying he's a
surprised
coward. That's kind of a
because,
shot.
Many of the things you say I agree with, and you know, I think I can't delve over which, you know, party I would vote for, but many of the maybe most of the things you say I agree with. So you throw them out there. I could totally believe.
Hey man,
what the
can I
support
can I,
is.
can I ask you a question?
This is
Oh,
not
okay,
an election
let's-
about policy.
I'm sorry, man.
This
No,
is
that's-
not an
really
election about
uncalled.
policy.
It's
This
totally
is not,
uncalled for, but I have
I
a
want
question.
universal health care, so I'm voting this way, or I don't believe in, you know. Trump is a criminal. He's going to take over democracy. He doesn't want votes anymore. He said, I'm going to be a dictator. You have to vote for the Constitution. Trump has said, I will, and, you know, Penguin and Dr. Sayers are not here with their clips and their videos of him saying a million times that he doesn't want democracy. He wants to be a dictator. He said, if you vote for me, you won't have to vote ever again.
Yeah,
Correct.
those are all
of that's true.
We don't have
Those are
time
all
this
true.
election to talk about universal health care and all this other nonsense. Not that it's nonsense. But this
Trump
is not a
doesn't-
policy
yeah,
debate. Like I said, if this was Obama versus Mitt Romney, we could have a policy debate about the best way to install universal health care and what should be covered, what shouldn't, who should, who shouldn't.
I wish
Medicare, which is
wish
basically
the
universal health care is Medicare. Medicare is for people who are over 65. In my opinion, and this is on the West Wing, You just drop the over 65 part of Medicare.
Can you hear the audio on this?
I don't think anyone would
You
disagree
can or
with
no?
any of those points you make.
Good.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to.
It's like
I'm tired of the. I'm tired of
He
the have it
thinks,
fixed
oh, he
so
was
good.
joking. He wants to be a
No.
dictator. Oh, he was joking. He said you want to vote again. Oh, he
no,
was
I'm not
joking.
saying any of that
He's
is
not joking.
supported. I don't support any of that. Like, you
But
know,
you're not
any of
voting
those
against it
statements
either.
that people.
If you're
that
not
people
voting
put
against
out.
it, you're supporting it.
Yeah, no, I can't also.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
no.
that equally and
What about
be the case?
I don't want.
for
I'm sorry. I don't want to turn this
the
conversation
other-
back over to of Trump
Yeah.
versus Harris.
Yeah,
No,
it shouldn't be.
But what about? But what about Harris? Are you so afraid of? What
What's
is she
that?
going to do that?
Yeah,
you
no,
know
I'm
knows?
not. I'm not. I'm
Nobody
not
knows
saying
for
that
me.
I actually lean in either direction, but I can
Then vote for
absolutely.
Harris. It's an
You
easy
have to
choice.
throw out the equal and opposite statement using the other party members' name. Am I, you know, if you spoke about supporting, you know, that by not voting, what is another equally argumentative counter to say, hey, I'm not supporting that. If I vote
Can
for
I
this.
ask you, Ham? Can I ask?
I'm curious what the
just
other.
first,
Yeah.
I'd like to see if you could do this timeline for a while. Okay, so the first one is Kamala. What is the timeline of Kamala Harris in your life? So she started where and did what, right? She started in, where is she from?
Oakland, California.
Well, I was asking him.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
No, I want
No.
to hear the rhetoric
It's-
and
no, it's
not
a
the
ti- it's a-
quiz.
no, it's just a
let's
timeline.
I
carry
went
on.
pop quiet.
So,
I'm
so
curious to see the
she
whole
did A,
collective
B,
of your
C,
point.
D,
Yeah.
and she was like a prosecutor, and she did all this stuff in California. Now she's a senator, right? What did Trump do? What's his timeline?
Yeah, I
Well,
think
he was
the
the shit. He
framing-
like cheated
yeah.
into college, got like scammed or scammed. You know, all. Then he got all his daddy's money and all this fucking shit, and now he's like, wow,
Went
I
back
stopped
to 6
doing drugs.
times.
We're bankrupt
Apologies,
6
everybody.
times.
Ham.
Feeling a little buzzed.
No,
You
no,
can
I'm
kick me if you
listening.
need to.
These are great.
But what I'm saying is that like
Good enough for now.
here's a guy that's just did
That's
nothing but
yeah.
shitty stuff to the world, and on behalf of his own self.
You have to say
Since he
most
was
or many
15
or
years
some,
old,
because,
probably.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
like to
and now
acknowledge
here
that
he
all
is.
of that's valid. From a non-biased standpoint, sure,
It's
you have
all
to
that's
neutrally
valid?
look at it all.
Do you agree with all of that?
No,
Ham,
no, no.
can I
disagree
ask-
with
there's a
every
bunch of-
negative attribute that's been done by either person, and I don't want to dissect, you know,
What's the
Harris
either
or dissect
person?
Trump, but I'm sure
Why
that
don't you
we
wanna
would all
dissect them?
disagree with any negative attribute that those people have ever created in their lives or on have pushed onto others, and the
Like
potential
what, though?
for them to do that.
Wait,
Right?
wait,
It's-
wait,
it's
wait,
all
wait.
them.
You're making
support him.
you're making it seem like they're equal. What
No,
attribution
no, no.
error is
I
that?
like his points that were very
hold on.
positive about Harris.
False
and-
equivalency. That's what you're doing.
Ham.
Right. No,
Ham.
I'm looking at the optimism that was
Oh,
proposed
no.
about
This guy
Harris
left.
and
Was,
the
oh no, sorry, I was
pessimism that
worried
was
you
proposed
left.
about Trump. And
No, I'm
in
gonna step
its
away for a moment, but I'm
entirety.
not
There
leaving.
are
Okay,
like,
good.
we have to acknowledge that there are like probably there definitely are positives that some people
You're just
create in
making
life, and
some
they're not-
hypothetical, like
Hold on,
assuming.
Ham. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
No,
Ham.
Okay, let's go to Jazz
goes-
and then
okay.
Rube and then
Ham.
back to Ham.
I see where you're coming from, and I wish the conversation at this moment in time in America was about debating whether or not the top tax policy is better for whatever. But there's only one candidate that goes on national television and says the enemy is within. The enemy within is worse than Russia. It's worse than China. There's only one candidate that does that. That the policy debate is over. There is nothing when you literally demonize a whole part of the country, fellow Americans, just because of their ideology and because they disagree with it. When you say the enemy within is worse than Russia and China, that the policy debate is over. To me, there is no comparison. Whether or not I disagree with one side or the other is irrelevant when one candidate is telling me literally hate my fellow American because of their policy viewpoints. And there's no debate. There's no equivalency that I could assign to either one of them.
Mm-hmm. What value does China bring to our nation, though? Do they bring any value? And then what about? I don't think Russia ever is associated with bringing added positive value, like being additive in the world. But I think China
Wait. That's a completely different question. That's not anything to do with what he said. What he said is that Trump actually wants to.
I know what he's saying.
Make
and I don't
political.
disagree with you guys' points.
Well, then what's the point of bringing up China and Russia at all? When we're talking about domestic issues of he is literally planning to do mass deportations, which would be having cops go door to door with guns, deporting young women and children who happen to be in this country illegally, some of which who've lived their whole lives pretty much here, don't know Spanish or any other language, only know English, only know this life as an American, deported.
Yeah, I want to look at that case that was brought up here about Russia and China. So
but you're
Harris
saying
is going on.
Yeah,
Harris
sorry.
is going
If
to
you're
the
born in
public
the
and
United
saying
States,
that they're the
you're
enemy
an
and
American
making.
No. That's you
threat.
misunderstood entirely.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to restate it, Jazz? If you want to.
I was literally quoting him to say that the enemy within is more dangerous than China or Russia.
Okay.
That's what Trump said.
That was a quote word for word from what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I wouldn't get on board with any.
Is he the enemy? Is Trump the enemy? I just want to understand what you're saying.
No, what he's saying is that the enemy within the liberals and the left and the Democrat
The
are
deep
the
state.
enemy within, which is more. This is quote for word for word what he said. They are more dangerous than China and Russia. Like, they're dangerous and whatever, and China threatens us with terrorists and whatever, and Russia obviously has its problems, but the enemy within, your fellow neighbor, your fellow American, is more dangerous, and we should take care of them.
Do you think people that threw out those big
He's
statements
talking about
like
the deep
Kennedy
state.
and Lincoln that were assassinated had any kind of comparable quote that was kind of revealing about the way that the nation operates? That was kind of a liability at all? Do you see any parallels there? I'm just curious.
Let me
Stepping back.
1 second. Let me
If there is. If there are, I genuinely want to know.
Somebody said that he's talking about the deep state. No, he is not. He says, I think the bigger problem is the enemy within. The radical left lunatics could pose a potential problem on election day. It should be easily handled if necessary by the National Guard or if necessary the military. That is civilians. That is not deep state.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Oh, Sleek has
I'm
his hand up.
curious
Sorry.
What if Harris said, I think that there's a problem on election day where there's a lot of Republicans who could threaten the safety of voting, and she said, hey, to mitigate that and make it a cordial experience for my voters, I think that the National Guard should just be present and make sure that they should intervene with any of
Wait, did she say that? I don't believe she said that.
No, if that was is that a logical thought? If she was like, hey, I feel that there's going to be a lot of threatening Republicans that
you're just making stuff better than air.
No, I want
that
to
would be no, because guess what? She would never say that because she is aware of the history of black people voting who have where they put cops right next to the ballot places to intimidate. She is aware that a voter intimidation is a problem because she is aware of the issue, unlike most Republicans, or they're aware and they want to do it more, of voter intimidation. So, of course she would never say that. And she has not, to be clear. Okay.
It broke up. What was that? I didn't hear the last part.
She has not said it, and she is aware that voter intimidation is an issue. So she would never say that. So to
No,
say
I'm
like,
saying,
but
is
what
it
if she said that?
justifiable? How
No,
would she
no.
solve it? I'm curious. If there were a lot of intimidators standing there, like I would want somebody to solve it and make
It
all
wouldn't.
of the liberal
They were
voters safe to go vote.
No, that's
It's the
handled, if they
military
were
that would be
legitimate threats,
intimidating, not
if,
other people.
Yeah.
Oh,
if
okay.
if
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
legitimate,
That would be.
verifiable threats,
Mhm.
that would be handled just like any other crime or any other threat. It should be handled by what we need to handle. Like, if there's
very
of course,
strict
like,
rules at polling places of
Yeah.
like you can't have a Trump T-shirt and just stand outside the voting place. A cop will take you and go, okay, you go 20 meters that way if reported, but the cop does not stay there. The cop just goes, I'm taking this one guy and we're going.
Very good. Yeah.
Okay, sleep.
Sorry.
I just wanted to point out, like, in regards to Trump's threats to use the military against, leftists or, whatever today's enemy of his is, how weak and desperate of a president do you have to be that you have to use the threat of military force to make people like you, to make people vote for you? I mean, this is frightening, but it's also incredibly pathetic, in my opinion.
He's a big
Personal
baby.
attacks.
Yeah, you're right.
No, skin. It's
totally
yeah.
carrot. Totally carrot. Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's true that he should not, like, yeah, it's frightening to even suggest using military on civilians for not doing anything violent, but just voting is disgusting and anti-democracy. Okay, you're on the screen. You can go, Ruben.
Yeah, I just gotta go back to something that you brought up earlier. You brought up on the screen because he said something, false equivalency.
Yeah.
You sat here and you saying like, well, they both have positive and negatives, but they don't. What? And this kind of goes back to what I asked before, and I didn't want to get off the topic, but apparently we did. Is what is Kamala's negatives? What is?
Yeah, I
so
have to agree. I don't know any, and there aren't. And I agree. When we look at the
Because I could list
really, when we look
100
at
of
the
Trumps.
people,
To be fair,
it's
I can
very
list a
justifiable
couple
when you guys
of
compare Harris and-
Harris's.
and-
Well, I
and
list
Trump,
policies
but-
I don't agree with. Like, I
Yes,
think it's normal for
but
anyone to vote
but
for.
usually Trump would be worse. That's the only.
1,000 times worse. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely agreement in all of that. I'm out to just offer that if there's the ability to explore the equal and opposite, attributions, we should, and it creates the discourse we have.
But
going on
sometimes,
here, so-
like
but yeah.
you say that you're saying that as if there is always going to be a equal or something. Sometimes there is a bowl
Yeah,
of
there's
pudding
lots,
and a bowl of shit. They may look similar,
Right.
but you're still not going to be like, well, you could like the bowl of shit. No, it's always going to go for the
definitely
bowl.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
No, it's just looking at case studies. Like if we were at a San Francisco, we were a bird in the sky, and we saw a San Francisco like polling booth, a whole little like building, and there were a lot of idiot like overly conservative right-wing people dressed in all of their little costumes and stuff to intimidate people, like hundreds of them, right?
The cops would come and take them away.
The cops would come and take them away.
Right,
Would
but
we-
if a
What?
cop, how's a cop going to handle 100 of those people lined up, shoulder
Because
to shoulder?
it wouldn't get to 100. It would. This is all a hypothetical
look at
that
that,
wouldn't
though.
happen.
Yeah.
This is.
Do you think that's a hypothetical that Trump sees 100 of random like
No.
lunatics?
That has nothing to do with what he's saying.
What is he actually seeing when I don't think it's even a logical.
No. Like even
Trump
according
there
to
in the
him, people don't
Isn't
like
even gonna
wear
get to that
Harris shirts or do like things like that. He would say like their crowds are all fake and nobody likes Harris. Then why is he even saying this?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I want.
yeah.
I can. That's what I would like to dissect. Is what is the radical left lunatic?
I think he's setting up for like saying that it's all rich.
To your hypothetical,
We don't have a definition of it.
regardless of political affiliation, if
Mhm.
there was 100 individuals that were threatening a polling place, obviously local authorities will get called. If they can't handle it, then yeah, the National Guard should be.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's a Trump or whether that's a Harris, it doesn't matter. That's what it should be done, and that's what's gonna happen. So
I love that. We take
And
labels
also
off
keep in
instead
mind-
of radical left lunatics or radical right wing lunatics. We said,
But he's the one
and
who said
with
the label.
blends,
This is
like,
a quote
but
from
yeah.
him.
That's he's solved the question really by saying that. You
Also,
set that
also,
up
I
by
do want to point out that when it comes to
There's,
voting, the FBI would be involved with people going on Facebook going, hey, let's all meet at this place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And they could equally identify some non-realistic group of radical left lunatics, right? I mean, they would equally be able to. I know, but it does. I mean, it's nice to step
What about
out
those Free
and see
Palestine
your point
guys?
that way.
They seem pretty radical.
Yeah, maybe there is, but I like Jazz's explanation.
I'm only
of that,
kicking
and
you
that
because
kinda
I know
solves
that
it.
you're a troll. But I agree.
You're a
that...
fat bitch.
Well, there we
There's
go.
I wonder who that
That's
guy was
true.
gonna vote for.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, people, state, local
I wonder
governments
what
that
side
would
he was
be not able to handle it, right? So there is severities to that hierarchy of, is that one cop going to be able to mitigate
That response? Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
There's definitely severities, and
Right,
yes,
so-
I totally agree. If it was at that scenario, and there was
Do you have your
regardless of
hand up,
political
bro?
affiliation,
Yeah.
they
But
would
anyway,
they
Closer
would
to
definitely
just like talk.
Closing
Oh, no, I think
and
he's stretching. Is he
I
stretching?
fully support that
I
viewpoint.
don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Looks
totally
like-
Sorry,
support
yes,
that
I
too.
am stretching.
Oh, okay.
And that closes
He's
this
doing yoga.
quote here, no matter who said it.
I see. Yeah, let me give you an interesting scenario. I see a lot of people attribute his specific words to other meanings. Like they try to explain away other meanings in what he says and not take it at face value when he says it multiple times in multiple interviews. I don't see that with Harris. I see people actually take her word at face value and tell them and say, hey, look what she said. Look what she did. This is exactly what she said, and I told you guys that's what she meant, and blah blah blah. Whenever she says something, whenever I
sounds
hear
pretty
him say something
actually.
else,
Mhm.
sorry.
I'm listening.
Oh no, Kamala sounds good.
Yeah, whenever I hear him say something, his staffers come out, his surrogates come out, and they're like, no, that's not what he really meant, or he was joking. And I see that time and time again, and I think that's such a dangerous thing to be able to just
Go off
explain
script,
away
yeah.
all of his craziness.
That's not going
Yeah,
off script.
totally.
That's
Totally.
being dishonest.
Rightfully said. I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
And I also just say, you said the far right groups and the far left groups. The people who are intimidating people at the polls are far right. There really are no far left extreme groups. The whole Antifa thing is made up.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Antifa
why I
is
agree that
just
this
stands
is,
for anti-fascist.
this
You know what else
sounds
is
like a
Antifa?
pretty silly
The soldiers
statement.
that stormed the beaches of Normandy. This whole
Mhm.
country should be anti-fascist.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The whole country is based on being anti-fascist.
Sounds like a silly statement, but the fact that he
Yeah.
said it multiple times on national television and does not walk back his words
It
makes
doesn't
me
sound confident at all. Could pose, and then potential problem. It just speaks to this. None of this is like a serious concern, just like you're saying, Rubinator, because it doesn't exist. And I mean, you can see it in the statement that it's acknowledged
No,
how weak of a statement
but
it is, right?
It doesn't exist, but he's trying. I mean, who's the one screaming about Antifa all the time?
Yeah. No,
Trust
I
me,
agree.
there's
All
an
of
Antifa
those
meeting,
people
I'd be
We're
there.
actually talking about Antifa these days. It's
Yeah.
not really a
But
thing.
I mean,
as much.
yeah.
As much now.
Because Antifa wasn't a thing. Like the people who were protesting were majority peaceful, and they were just average Americans like you and me.
And it's anti-fascism, and the bad rap, I think, I don't know for sure, but potentially the bad rap that they got was for a lot of other people that just wanted to come in and make.
Oh yeah. Like I think it was a lot of people were just soccer hooligans. You know how they have in Europe soccer hooligans who just put their hoodies up and just start and attack.
Portland, they've got Antifa, and in
Yeah.
Seattle, the
Yeah,
fans
yeah.
have Antifa.
Yeah, but that's
Well,
that's
anti-fascist, man.
Yeah, but that is the majority of the violence that happened was from people that were just teenagers that were angry, or young men
just
who just went like,
breaking
"Hey,
windows
I'm going
and
to put
shit.
my hoodie up and use this as an excuse to do some violence."
Yeah.
I like your point there, Markov, very much, especially when you compare it to this bigger problem. You can't really substantiate what a radical left lunatic's population looks like because Rubinator really identified that it really isn't some well-known group that could potentially pose a problem. And at face value, this does seem pretty silly. But let's say it was Loch Ness monsters threatening,
Sorry,
the
somebody was talking about
election
my.
day. Then it might be necessary to use military to mitigate that issue if there was
Dude,
something
Jazz,
as serious as
really,
that.
bro? What the fuck, man?
Who is it?
What?
Jazz.
What do you do?
Oh, maybe that wasn't you talking.
Oh, that wasn't. It was.
Loch Ness monsters.
Wait, what?
Was that what it was?
Yeah, and that's
Oh,
about
shit, my
as
bad,
serious
my
as.
bad.
That's kind of the point. You have, That's how far you have to go to say the Loch Ness monster might interfere with the elections.
Right.
That's about the probability of any kind of left organization.
That's what I was kind of assimilating to there.
Yes.
That's,
But Trump thinks it's a real threat, though.
Yeah, and I don't know what
what's
that
the
looks
real
like.
threat?
Not being able to pinpoint what he's
left-wing,
referring to in this example here. Like, what is
radical
define
left
that?
lunatics.
Radical left
Somehow
lunatic populace.
being a problem on election day. The only problem that they would be is that they're voting and then going home and that's a problem for him directly.
And watching the election coverage on NBC.
That's true.
Well,
I took those 2 days
not
off,
true.
so there will be election coverage. It might not be
I work
for
from home.
teach
I don't know how I'm going
progress.
to concentrate. I'm going to work from home. Really, there's no reason
You
to
want?
watch
I
until the-
assume that's what
until the
work
polls
from home
close.
people do all the time anyway. I'm just jealous. Is that they're just playing with their cats and dogs and watching TV.
Oh, my cat's on my lap all day.
Oh, okay.
They're very
Let-
spoiled.
Dude, that's exactly what I do. Who said that? Fuck,
Mhm,
sorry.
I'm
Who said
jealous.
that? That's exactly
love
what I
kitties.
I've got
Yeah.
2 cats. I've got 2 dogs. And I work from home and I watch TV all day.
I got 2 cats.
Sleek, did you get a cat yet?
Oh, not yet.
Okay, go get a cat.
Bro. Dude, bro.
I'm
Get
sorry.
2. No, you should get 2.
That's true.
They
I
will
get 2,
be
so when I
You
leave
want
them alone,
kittens?
I
This
feel
is
bad.
true. Yeah, they'll be happy if
I always
they
get my cats
have a
sometimes.
playmate. I'm sure.
I'm gonna
Skipping
guilt you. I'm
that,
gonna be like, there's 2 cats at the shelter right now, and they need someone to hug them. Why aren't you doing
he'd
that?
seen
No,
this post on
skate.
Facebook.
I'm a butt.
I think Skipping had his hand up.
Oh, skipping, of course. Yep.
I was just gonna say earlier, like when we were talking about, extremists on the side. As a liberal, I'd say there are like liberal extremists, but the difference is they're not endorsed by the party. The Democratic Party largely condemns like liberal extremists.
In fact, anyone who's slightly liberal is shit on right now by the
Well, no,
Democratic
he's got
Party.
a point. He's got a point, though. He's got a point, though. I
Yeah.
think that the centrist part of the party does not want to acknowledge the extreme parts of the party. Both parties, right? So, what
not
was your
both
question
parties.
about that?
No, not both parties. The Republican
Not both
Party
parties.
is
Well,
embracing
yeah, my point is
the
that
extremists.
Republicans are fucking nut
Yeah.
jobs, but
Right now, the
skipping that
Republican
joke.
seems to be like endorsing the craziest parts of their. The extremists have now become like.
They have no
you know,
problem. They have no problem throwing their arms around the white supremicists.
But like, if you look, there are
And
like
the
some
Democrats
crazy
control
groups
the weather,
that are liberal, but largely the DNC will condemn the liberal.
It's self-regulating. They regulate themselves. Versus...
I don't know if we condemn our
Well,
liberal
like,
absolutely.
extremists.
There are like some
To
super
some extent,
crazy
but yeah.
left that, like, for example, that and most people that are
Hit me with what? Hit me.
saying say free Palestine, I do agree with, but there are some people that actually will go as far to like defend Hamas even. And say, well, no.
I think that's very rare. That's very rare.
I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, and it's
I'll
rare
give
because
you an
most of
example.
the DNC will
I think
denounce
there's
that.
the
You know what I
Gen
mean?
Zs are all about like supporting things they
Wait,
really
how about
know
the fact that
about.
the Democrats denounce any other Democrat who commits a crime?
Are you
Like
kidding
Mayor
me?
Adams?
Oh,
Mayor
yeah.
Adams in New York?
How many Democrats have had like moderately sexual scandals? They've just
No, I'm not
you
talking
know?
about a scandal. I'm talking about
Not-
like Mayor
not a scandal.
Adams. I'm talking about
Well-
Mayor Adams in New York City. He gets indicted for charges.
Yeah.
Every
Well, I
Democrat
don't know about that
turned
one,
their
yeah.
face
And then
up.
there's-
Al
No,
Franken
that's,
had to
Al
had
Franken
step down
had to resign
because he took a
Right.
picture
What's
of
his
a
name?
woman.
I always
Mike,
forget the guy's
tiny
name.
thing.
A woman
Mute yourself.
The chick in
senator from
California
New
that had to
You're
resign
driving
because
or
she had
whatever
such a
you're
going on with
doing.
her assistant.
Your air conditioner
The
is so
senator
loud.
from New Jersey who had gold bars.
Democrats resign.
Yeah, Democrats
They
resign,
show-
and
dude,
and the
each
other
side,
Democrats
right?
hold them accountable and
One
force them to
conversation.
resign.
Yes,
You don't see
yeah.
that on the right.
Republicans, they don't. They're like,
It finally
let's keep
happened with
them
that
in
with
as long as we-
George Santos was like the first one ever in modern history that got pushed out.
But yeah, probably.
I mean,
easier.
after so
Easier,
much
but-
overwhelming evidence,
And look how
he
long
had
it
to be
took.
pushed out. It was pretty bad. Roy Cooper should have been pushed out. A bunch of people. Rick Scott.
What do you
Jesus.
guys think about the fact that the Democrats have won the popular vote for
30 years?
Last 36 years.
Funny
Yeah,
thing
for
is,
one
as
vote.
polls
Except
are,
for one.
there's a couple of polls saying that it might actually go the other way this year. That there's a sliver of a chance that
Right,
Harris
that Trump went to
win.
vote and
Yeah,
lose the election.
I just
yeah.
can't imagine.
Oh my
how
God,
would
that
stop
would get. They would immediately. I almost hope that happens, just so they get rid of the electoral college, because then both
Yeah.
parties would be like, "You're right. We should get rid of the electoral college."
Hell yeah, we should. That's DEI for Republicans.
Bear.
Yep.
Hey,
What's
Bear.
up, guys? Hey,
Hey,
Renee.
Bear down.
John.
It's funny because my cat's name
What's
is
up, guys?
my cat's name is
What's
Bear
up, brother?
also.
My dog's name is Bear.
My mom's dog's name was Bear.
Oh shit.
That's awesome.
Cool.
My
We're
dog's
just
name
talking
is
about current election issues of
Good to see
nobody
you.
endorsing any parties or anything like that. We usually don't talk specific. We're not endorsing anyone, at least for the Teach Progress org thing, but talking about the different pros and cons of the election right now. You know, everyone vote.
Okay. Well,
that
like I
kind of
find in
thing.
most of these rooms, you start on one topic. I think when I came in here, you know.
Yeah, we
talked
were
about
we
something
were
else,
talking about guns, and then it
about guns,
and then it
somehow
went.
got to
Oh,
healthcare.
yes, it went
That's a hard
to
topic.
universal health care, and how some people believe that. I mean, it is popular. Universal health care is a popular issue among both parties. It's just one
Can I
party
ask-
does
can I
not
ask a
have that in
question
their
about that?
platform.
Can
Of
I
course.
ask a question about
And-
that?
and
Of
for-
course.
For
for
everybody that's in, everyone in the room, I apologize because I'm slurring because I've had, like a lot of beers.
God,
tonight.
please
feel you,
don't.
bro.
No more
Too.
drunk.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But and now I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay. Okay, this is what. Drink some water, eat some bread.
Bear down, baby.
Okay. Yeah. We were talking about how
Yeah, no,
the
move on.
Republicans don't have health care in their platform, but they say it's the solution for
Gun violence.
gun violence.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do. It's hilarious.
Or yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
yeah.
We
And-
segued
and-
into that to kind of
Yeah,
if
you
guns
proposed
and
a bill.
weapons were actually like regulated to the extreme, justifiably so, and everybody agreed with it. You know, how would that actually reach the bottom of the barrel of bad actors? And that's also like through a system that provides more resources to them, like universal health care. So that's
Correct.
going to be able to provide more resources, increase the well-being, quality of life for those people who are the bad actors that run these underground type of exchanges of weapons, despite all of the regulations. So I think
Though
that's
anytime-
a good use case for getting.
Anytime that there is a shooting, a school shooting or something like that, or even just like the Vegas shooting that was really bad,
Yo.
it's all people that have either bought their guns legally or they took them from a spouse or a parent, or they were a gift, which is fucking inconceivable that somebody goes like, hey, you're my kid who's having mental issues, let me give you a gun for Christmas. So yeah, that happened at the
So
last
it's an issue of them
one of the
simply
last shootings.
existing, is what I'm
No,
hearing.
no, I'm saying that if there were
matter the
gun
regulations.
safes and that people were not encouraged to give guns to underaged people, like people under the age of 21, then it would definitely cut down on the gun violence. They're not using black market guns.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Everything we see never comes from those cases, but there will be, like, I'm not going to say that there will be any future shootings from that group of the black, like, market sold guns.
I know, but you got to think about it. It's like, how is a
be.
16-year-old who's angry and
Mm-hmm.
disgruntled get a gun from the black market?
Yeah,
like
they
why?
they
No,
would
you know what?
definitely go
Somebody,
to their
no, but there is no such thing.
parents or families or friends.
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Because it's not
unfortunate.
like the black market. They like you're saying black market guns, but I think that it's within interest of the people who are selling black market guns, who are like doing like, hey, these are super modded guns or whatever. They're not going to sell it to anyone who they think could do any violence against other people, because that's a liability to them. Because then
but it's not because they can't be sued, right? So
they're not
gun
going to get
manufacturers
sued.
cannot be sued.
No,
But
if
can they be investigated?
No, but we're not talking about the gun manufacturers. We're talking about, he's saying black market, like back sold guns with no SNs, things like that.
So like the bad guys with the guns.
Yeah, bad guys with the guns who are doing. Yeah, they're not gonna sell to somebody who's gonna do crimes, because then they're gonna narc on who sold them those guns, and then they can no longer sell guns. And in fact, it's probably a federal charge, and they will go to jail. Yeah. So they would only sell to gun enthusiasts who have safes and are like literally not. They're probably selling high modified guns.
So
I agree. And not only that, like, dude, I own a 3D printer. Do you know how many extra things that I can print for guns?
Yeah.
Like, I can do bump stocks. I can do whatever I really wanted. They're illegal now in my state in Illinois, but I can go, using what is it called, VPN, and go to a particular website. If
We
I like,
are
for
recording
example,
Bear
in
Down.
Texas. Well, I'm saying, I'm just giving the loophole.
I
I'm
know.
not saying I do
I know.
that.
I'm just joking. I'm messing with you. I'm just messing, yeah.
But you can do that, and anybody can buy a 3D printer. Those motherfuckers go for like $140.
Yeah.
And the accessories you can print for guns, you can make a lot of money if you just sell them, let alone print them for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all these fucking loopholes that it's gonna be hard to come back. Okay, so let me ask you guys this. Sorry, I know I'm all over the place, but
so sorry. Well, like I said, we had 3 hours of this conversation. At this point, we have pretty much all agreed that it should be licensed like cars.
Exactly.
I think his point in
Sorry,
summary was,
I didn't want to
if
re-over it.
somebody wanted to do it bad enough, they would find a way to make it happen. No matter if it was from all of those examples that Murkov provided, that is the majority of all of these investigations coming to fruition were at the basis of somebody receiving it as a gift or getting it from a family member or friend or being sold it from some sketchy pawn shop, dude. But to your point, no matter what level of regulation gets passed down, that if somebody wanted to commit such a cruel endeavor, it can be done by means of just finding a way. But I think that all of this regulation is very, very, very impactful of all of these to start to mitigate such high levels of gun violence that we do.
Correct.
See.
We got to start somewhere. Exactly, Ham. You're right. You're right. And particularly, like, what's that Australian comedian?
If somebody wanted to, but not to that amount of, it's not going to be done to that level of what we see without the
Yeah. I mean, mostly we agree that it's like anything that anyone already has 100% grandfathered. Because, they're already not committing crimes, so fuck it. Excuse my language. I curse so much. I apologize.
Yeah. Oh, Murkov. You don't know me, I guess.
Okay. Imperion, what do you guys say?
Oh, yeah, Imperion.
On the sake of, like, yeah, we, in the same aspect, you can print a lot of, like, gun parts and stuff like that. There's not really anything. I know it's scary to have the ability to print parts, which you think is like for guns, but it's usually just lowers, which are the ones that get serialized and are the ones that are actually tracked by like ATF or any agency and stuff like that. But nothing that has been printed has been right now a part of like any like major crime.
Except for Japan, where they assassinated that former prime minister with the like 3D printed shotgun.
And also, Emperor, and you're wrong though, because you're talking about the whole gun was 3D printed. That's
I
wild.
think just parts.
Oh, okay. So, but you're also wrong because
he made a
lot of
shotgun
crimes
and
from 3D printed parts that should worry everybody.
It wasn't all 3D printed
So
parts.
you can do
parts.
ghost guns. You
Yeah.
can do ghost guns. Those are all the majority of them 3D printed. You might be able to buy a spring or smaller things that are like metal and shit like that. But the majority of the gun is 3D printed. That should worry all of us. Those are.
But
ghost
how
guns.
many?
So it happens all the time.
In America, that's not like a worry.
Let me see. Actually,
Japan
I mean,
has one-
the
one
only
casualty.
reason it's not a worry.
No, it's not one casualty. That's true.
It's not.
Yeah, but
Are these
the
plastic guns are like metal printed by any means.
So you can do plastic
like
guns. So like for example,
Okay.
in Venezuela and Salvador and Honduras, they have these things called chumbas, right? And these are two just poles that you can get from fences, and you put gunpowder in them, and they fix them in one way or another, and you just pull on them, and then they just shoot. Like you can make a gun out of a lot of shit, and there's a lot of 3D printed ghost guns that you can make. Like, and this is a legit worry we should have.
well, to be fair,
I know it is. I know it is, but for the
It's
most
not-
part, that's not our worry in America.
It's
because
not a
we have
worry
regular
because
guns.
Yeah, because
exactly.
we have so many guns.
Exactly.
We have so many guns. you can just
Until
buy
recently,
ammo.
you could just go to Walmart and grab one.
Yeah,
And you can buy
exactly.
ammo from a vending machine in a lot of
Correct.
states. Okay,
Yeah, we used
skipping.
to,
Go
but
ahead.
we can't anymore.
A lot of the big problems
which
with
sucks.
the ghost guns are like that big place in Canada where there was that whole big ring of ghost guns, and what they were doing was they were manufacturing metal parts to modify pellet guns.
Yeah.
And that's actually where the majority of ghost guns come from now, right now.
The biggest thing about
comparable
ghost
to-
guns is there's no serial number.
Correct.
You have the lower frame, which is supposed to be serialized, and that's what's on the bottom frame of like an M4 or AR-15.
Not
or
to
a
mention the
Glock,
mark that it leaves
or
on the
most
bullet, yeah.
pistols and stuff like that. The bottom frame doesn't take any really big shock, so you can make it out of plastic, which a Glock is made out of. So
Right.
that's what the main platform is made from.
Right, so that's a problem.
But we don't have that problem right now.
We don't, because guns are readily accessible. But there will be
Yes.
a point where that's gonna be a big prevalent thing. 3D printers aren't really like a lot of people don't. They're so cheap, right? Does anybody here own a 3D printer? I do, but I'm probably like one or two of the only people in this room.
I have so many files right now. I can make an AK-47 right now out of
Exactly. Me too. Right?
But it wouldn't work. It would
if I
just
wanted to, man.
explode.
If
No,
I
no,
hit the metal
I can
parts.
make it so it could work.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
that's not good.
That's
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a big problem.
The
And
thing
when
is,
3D
there's
printers
not,
get big-
there's nobody really right now that's doing it. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go through the problem of making a gun out of it right now.
Yeah, but
there's
because
people
the
that
worry
go,
about it now
I
because
have
the
access
technology
to
is only gonna get
weapons
better, though.
that can make it right now. But
It's the same
if
with
you
AI.
if you have like if you know, the biggest thing is like the material. First off, you can make there's a metal like 3D printer. Just make the frame. That's easy. Just get the frame. You can even steel frame it like
Yeah,
just
but the printer is like
print it.
$100,000.
Yes, but even just like printing like the frame, getting the bottom frame, and everything else is fine. You can get all of it. There's
Yeah, but
nothing.
my printer costs $700, and I can print you the majority of a gun with that. The majority. All the other parts I can buy for like $5, $10.
Yeah,
All
the
the
Home
other
Depot.
parts are
Yeah.
different. So I literally need a gun for like $40 total, and it's gonna be a shitty gun that might not fire, it might blow my hand apart, but it could fucking kill somebody, right?
Yes.
And I can buy all the materials for like $40 and the printer for like $200. And if I want to like make a bunch of them, and right now, like you said, it's not a problem. But the reason it's not a problem is because guns are readily accessible, right? Why would you risk blowing up your hand? You could buy a gun for $150. But like, what was that? Jim Jeffries, he did this whole skit on Americans and guns, right? How like, oh, you have a gun to protect yourself. You're gonna need an AR-15. Like, you consider a lot of yourself to think you're gonna have to protect yourself with an AR-15. Like, what do you think the mafia is gonna be coming after you? Blah blah blah. And he basically said that in Australia, because they had that school shooting, what was it, 1993, something along those lines, and they completely banned assault rifles in their country. They haven't had a school shooting since. And he said, and if you
But
try
there's
to
still
get a gun
shootings
now,
there.
but not nowhere near even per capita the amount
Not
that we
as
have in
much,
America.
but there's still
Nowhere
shootings.
Well,
near,
that
but, like,
is
nowhere
what's it
near.
called? Zero sum thinking. No,
There's
that's
still
not right.
shootings there
Black
in
and white
Australia. Just because they get
Black
rid
and
of
white
them
thinking.
doesn't mean.
But
We're not
yeah,
looking
just
to
because
eliminate
one person, we're about harm reduction. Harm reduction should
Right.
always be the goal. We're never going to. That was a child. Where's this child? Child, goodbye.
Zama.
Got him. Okay. But yes, it's all about harm reduction. You cannot stop 100% of anything, ever.
Right.
I like their
Only
3D
a Sith
comparisons
speaks
for
in
life.
absolutes. So that's how that
Okay.
works.
Then I guess I'm
printed
Sith
examples were
because
like
I'd
people that were
rather
making garage bombs
deal in
kind of back in the
absolutes
day.
because I'd rather have a lightsaber than not have one at the end of the day.
You had a lot of chemists that know exactly how to make a bomb that would do a lot of destruction to a lot of people, but they responsibly had access to these ingredients for their experiments and for other things that were additive, right? So these chemists and teachers and professors and people that were credentialed and trusted to reach out to these suppliers and receive these, they were going through a vetted process, much like the future of 3D printing. Probably down the road, but whatever happened post 9/11, whatever restrictions and things went into place drastically changed the landscape of bombs blowing up mass crowds rampantly and as frequently, because we haven't seen a lot of that. I think Boston Marathon is the last one that comes to my mind.
And that was just a
due to
pressure
somebody.
cooker
I mean,
one.
are we gonna stop
Yeah.
getting people pressure cookers? Can
No,
you not
yeah,
make
no.
rice anymore?
That's that exact black and white thing. Somebody's eventually, if they wanted to bad enough, they're going to be able to do it. They're going to be able to go to that $70 3D printer and get the material. They're going to be able to, over time, try to evade all of the systems and protocols in place to track their online behavior on Amazon of what all they're buying, whether they're building.
But the more steps that they
Which
have,
is also a breach of
privacy,
people's
yeah.
But
privacy.
keep in mind,
Absolutely.
if people have to do this and they have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get a gun and things like that, they're either going to have enough time for somebody to find them going like, what the fuck are they doing? Getting all of these downloads of printed like guns and things like that. Or somebody going like, why'd they go to Home Depot and buy a bunch of springs when metal shot? And things like that. But then also...
One could be educational. One
yes,
could be actionable.
Yes. But also it's even just cooling down. Like there's a reason why there's a cooling down period after you buy a gun. Is so if you're like, I have a crime of passion, I need to kill my spouse, there's at least a couple of a day or 2 or 3 days or whatever, so you don't actively do that. And that's why these like having regulations and
So
even just
that should be for first gun time owners. Yeah, definitely. If you're a first time gun owner, definitely have a fucking cooldown period.
This should be just in general.
It should be
But
general.
anytime I'm trying to buy a gun, I've owned guns since I was 18. I don't need a cooldown period. I'm fine.
Well, you say that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I could.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You're on big
But, like,
screen. You cannot be trusted, sir.
What would be like the good amount of time for you if, like, or at least me.
Oh, for fashion,
for Emperor-
but it would be 3 days. But also, I think
But
that
he already has guns.
Yes,
I don't need
yes.
3 days. I have guns. I have
You know what?
guns
There
already.
should be a light.
I've
we don't
3D
trust
printed
you, though.
16 guns in my
we don't
laboratory.
trust you. That's your problem.
Okay, that's
That's the thing. They don't trust me.
Yeah, yes.
Exactly.
Also, you shouldn't
But
have. Is it legal
I have
for you
guns.
to have?
I have had guns. I'm
Yeah,
32.
great. We live in
and
a
I've had
country
guns
where the
since I was
majority of
18.
children die
I've
from
never
shooting.
killed anybody
don't-
in the States.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
we
yes.
don't care.
I was
Okay.
deployed.
Wait. 1 second. I was going to say that you should have to have a license, and somebody should be like, "Hey, do you have a gun safe?" There we go.
Right.
Then you can. You're good.
So, is somebody gonna come into my house and check that?
No, of course
No.
not. We do all this
Hey,
shit
you know
before.
what? You
Em-
send a picture
so
to
the way
the
I-
DMV,
the way
and it
I
goes,
store
"Look,
my
there we
guns-
go."
No.
Mirko.
I'm
Okay.
very. I'm
Well,
trying.
let him finish real quick. You go finish.
Trying to understand. Like, what would you want?
You to send a picture or a video of your gun safe once every 5 years. There we go.
Okay, so you want a generic photo of a gun safe that would
Pointing at your gun safe, and then the DMV can go like, "Yeah, that's him."
Is it gonna be
Holding
something
up
where
today's
I'm selling like Pokemon cards where I have to
Yes.
put like the day?
Yeah, and
like,
you're
the
holding
year
a
and stuff like
newspaper,
that?
and you're
You
in
won't have to
front
use
of
my
your
Pokemon
safe,
cards,
even though
Emperor. I
newspapers
got
don't
some cool
exist.
Pokemon cards, dog.
I
With
don't
how
think
would
that
you
would
do
do
them?
it.
I would
This
say
is
this is
metadata on
stupid.
And you know what,
so we know when
Mirko?
it's taken.
The biggest
PSA
thing
10?
is they're still gonna try to come into my house.
Nobody's coming to your house.
Nobody's coming to your house.
Nobody wants to come to
Who
your
are you to
house.
say that? Is this you?
We are the
you?
most left, ever in this room.
I get that.
We're
I get
not
that.
coming to your
But
house.
are you the government now? Are you the government now?
God.
Because
The government
this
wouldn't
isn't
do
the
that to you
government.
anyway.
You're a doomsday prepper.
This
aren't
is you in the best possible way, where you're trying to get me to send you
Well,
a
here.
picture, either through
If you're looking for a
email
government
or something like that,
representative, the big screen
a
is
picture
not
of my safe of guns.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure, right.
best possible way. Do you think that Biden, Trump,
calm down.
anybody is gonna be like,
It's not going to be
yeah,
Biden,
the
I
picture's
tell you
good.
that.
Oh, the picture's blurry. We're gonna have to come go in.
No,
No,
nobody's
no,
gonna.
it's
Nobody's gonna.
Nobody's coming
You
to your house,
can't
dude.
promise
Stop.
that. Why are you saying that?
Nobody can.
We can't
Yeah, we
promise it
can.
because it's against the
Can't
Constitution.
promise that.
What?
We actually,
Look,
unlike the
Emperor.
Republican Party, the Democrats follow the Constitution.
You can't
The Fourth
promise that,
Amendment-
Ruben,
the Fourth
because it's
Amendment-
never.
It's against the
I'm giving them.
Constitution.
I'm allowing them to give. I'm allowing them that. That's the thing. You can't
to have a
promise
warrant,
that because you
right?
don't
I
understand
Wait,
that.
wait,
The
wait,
law-
Here we go. Here we go.
Mirko,
The DMV.
let me ask you.
Okay, one more sec. 1 second.
I
Hey
can't promise
guys.
we're not going to take away your free speech.
Guys.
Illegal search and
You
there
can't
has to be
promise
Guys,
anything.
guys,
Because
guys.
I didn't.
What? Hey.
You don't even have.
Empyrean.
You don't even have access.
When was the last time the DMV came to your house and checked out your car in your garage? Fucking never.
They haven't. But they
Because
pulled me over because
yeah,
the DMV
yeah.
has allowed the information go out.
That wasn't
Yes.
the DMV.
That
That
was-
was your local.
that was
fucking
your
law
cops.
enforcement.
That was
yeah.
the cops. But you were in a public space. You weren't in your house. That is how rules work. If you're carrying your gun and somebody says, "Hey, can I see your license?" You better fucking have that license. There you
Okay,
go.
so in that
If you have a gun,
in that
you-
exact
So-
same
so
space.
here,
Let's
Emperor,
get Bear
Emperor,
done.
let me put it this way, dog. Look, I get what you're saying. You're already a registered gun owner. Basically, the government already identified you as the safe person to have a weapon, and to you, there shouldn't be any sort of cooldown period because you already have weapons. If you wanted to commit a crime, you would have already committed it. The weapons already available to you, not the ones that you're gonna purchase. Correct? So to you, it's an inconvenience that the government can give you a grace period in terms of a cooldown period or anything of that nature, right?
What?
Am I kind of still manning your argument here?
Sorry. Literally the same thing as a car. Which
Correct.
I'm,
Okay, so I'm still manning your argument. Okay, so the problem isn't with for example, you're a stable-minded individual. You own guns. You've had guns for a while, and you were allowed these guns and all of that. Shit.
allegedly.
Hold on. Allegedly, right? Because we
In
obviously
Minecraft.
don't know the future, right? This isn't a fucking Hollywood movie where I know what crimes you're gonna commit in the future, right? So the problem is when we start allowing random individuals to just own guns for the sake of them, right? I've heard right-wing arguments arguing that people that are schizophrenic should still be able to avoid to own a gun And if by not doing so, you're somehow invading in their natural born rights. And that to me is ridiculous, because I'd rather have a 1 week, 2 week, a whole month wait period, depending on the gun, depending on the class of weapon you want to hold, in order to vet you thoroughly, like a thorough vet, right? Like if you have some sort of
1 second.
crime against your spouse, things like that, I don't think you should be able to own a gun. But I think that a whole month of a waiting period is not impeding in your Second Amendment rights or anything like that. We're just kind of vetting people that probably shouldn't own a gun to not own them. We've had too many crimes in this country where the people have been red flagging all over the place. Yo, I'm a piece of shit. I've hit my spouse. I've threatened this. I've threatened that. And we do a 1 day, 2 day waiting period, and then they get a gun, and then they
It's
do some
never
fucked
been
shit.
in those 2 days. It's never been in those.
So, so there are. So look at the Batman
They
shooter
run their
in
name
Aurora.
against
The Batman
the
shooter in Aurora
history, right?
bought guns, bro. They gave him a 2 week waiting period. Now, this guy had a problem with his psychologist. His psychologist told
Mello,
people,
I think you might be glitched. Come back
should have
again.
did their
Yeah.
due
Not hear us?
diligence
Well,
to give
exactly.
a 2 week period.
Exactly.
I can hear Mello.
Yeah, I think Mello can't see
Leave
bear
and come
down,
back.
so.
I don't see Mello at all.
I can
and
I can
would've
see
put
and
him
hear
right here.
Mello.
Oh, I might
I don't see him at all.
might have blocked Bear down.
But yeah,
Yeah,
He's a
unblock
very
her
clever
down.
guy.
Sorry.
No, I don't think we're blocked. I know Mello.
Oh, yeah.
I see Mello. He's
It's a
there.
bug, maybe. He's
I
gotta
saw
leave
him
and
and
come
I could
back.
hear him.
No, he
Yeah,
was
it's
having
bug-
audio issues.
gets
He.
buggy.
Also, I don't want to
Yeah.
take it from
Or
you,
he might
Mirko.
have
If
blocked
you,
me. Or he might have blocked me.
I can take.
But yeah, as
I
I,
can
as
talk
I was
to
saying, dude.
you, Bear down.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, as I was
understand.
saying- Yeah, let me just finish up real quick, right? I don't think a certain amount of waiting period, and excluding certain mental conditions from owning guns and particular crimes of people owning guns, it's not an impediment, it's not an infraction of the Second Amendment, and I think it's actually detrimental to the country, and we could prevent so many crimes, including the Batman
I
shooting.
understand that. It's just more people that you're excluding only the people that are trying to do it, which is fine. Like I get that. But for 99% of the people that just want to either get their kid getting a shotgun to go hunting or getting a rifle to go hunting and stuff like that, that's most of it.
Yeah, those kids should have to take a class before
it's
they own
very
those firearms.
rare you're stopping a killer.
Yeah,
It's
No, they
My
do have
grandpa
to.
taught me how to
very
use a
rare
rifle.
you're
Where you
stopping
get
a killer.
that from?
Mello, we can hear you.
Ember, where are you getting that
This
stuff
is
from?
what I'm just saying. You're very rarely stopping a killer. It's one if you're talking about a killer.
Well, if you're
in
buying guns
a
for
million.
hunting, you're
pulling that stat out of your ass.
Where
I'm
are you
sorry.
getting that stat from?
I am pulling out my
It's
ass because
unfortunate
like,
don't make stats.
how many
made up
fucking
out of-
people
Hold on,
do
let
you
me keep
know
pulling.
that
The
can kill
majority.
somebody right now?
Semantics.
It's unfortunate
I think
because
We'll keep it
100%
going.
of
How
killers
far
are
does it
Buying
go?
a gun.
Guys-
How far does it go?
Well, Mello, you gotta
Emperor, you
not.
can't do that, dude. You can't just make up a stat as if it's a truth. You can't
He
just
meant
sit
to
here
say
and say
the
99%
majority,
of the
right?
people who da. If you're gonna say anything like that, you have to have a fact, a study, something that backs it up. You can't just pull.
Okay, we can look it up.
and say look, common
We
sense.
can look
or
it up.
Okay,
something
what's
like that.
the what are we looking at?
How many people that get a hunter's license are a killer?
No.
No.
that's-
How many
not the
people?
How many people are killed
I was
with
a
legal
killer
weapons?
before I got
You
my
can't look it
hunter
up. What you're saying
license.
is, you're asking how much gun violence is stopped by this policy, and you can't know that.
Service.
No, and again, I don't want to change the policy. They
You'd
say
be
how-
fucking surprised, man.
That's a fantastic
No,
example
you-
related
How
to
many
that.
people in
You'd
this
be
room has taken a
surprised.
hunter
You
safety
don't
course?
know.
You'd be
Dude,
surprised.
you keep saying you can't be surprised.
Nobody-
You're not making sense, dude. Listen to me.
Yeah, didn't the
You
Colt
can't know a
kid
percentage of
not have
what
any,
things that didn't happen.
hunter's license or
How do you
anything
know
like
that
that and
somebody
still
that
had
was
access to
during a waiting
firearms?
period, if they got the
People
gun
get
un-
hunting license
Good.
all the time. I'm
Yeah, but
talking about
you can't know how many
shit.
people got
People
saved by
buy
somebody
guns.
having a gun. That's what Ruben
Wait,
is
have
trying
you
to
ever
state.
got
You
a hunting
can't
license?
There is
have
no way
stats
to-
of something that didn't happen.
1%.
No,
Have
is
you
those
ever-
are denied from the background check.
Oh.
Yeah, read.
Have you ever got
2%.
Have you ever
No,
had a
no,
fucking
you're just making shit
hunter's
up.
license?
3%.
You stop that. Keep going. Eventually you'll hit it.
17%.
Yeah,
This
no,
dude
you're
doesn't
just
even
making
know
shit
what
up.
the fuck.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. How many? I'm trying to think of a good
Should I
analogy.
just, like, quit
But you
talking?
can't have a stat of how many
Yes.
crimes were prevented.
Correct. You're right.
You don't know.
we understand how that works.
This isn't the
I know how
minority
that
report
works,
to
man.
know what someone would have done if they had a gun.
The measurement is watching
It
how
varies.
much decrease.
The first thing they say in the thing is there
from
isn't
1 year
much
to the next, how many
information.
deaths by gun and
You know what's sad? I cancel
You talk about me
that more
saying about people getting their gun
The thing
license
is
and then
sad is
people
this
owning
dude
guns.
interrupting this guy. You need to shut the fuck up and let this dude talk.
Hey, settle
You know what,
down,
Efren?
everybody. You know what?
Efren, you know
New
what
rule:
is
if you're on the screen, you get to talk.
Okay,
Cool, I'll
Emperor,
leave.
you know what? Stat
No,
I
no,
can
I'm
tell you
just wait,
that
and then you
more
can raise your
children
hand.
die from gun violence than anything else, including cancer and car accidents.
Wait,
don't forget the windmills, dude. Don't
That's
forget
an
the
insane
windmills.
thing to say.
Well,
You want to
wait.
back? You want to back that up?
Yes. We
Absolutely.
can back it up.
Can you
Yep,
back that up?
absolutely.
Back that up.
Yep, I'm backing it up.
Because it-
We're gonna
because it
everybody. No, look.
And if I
most
prove to you that it is, then what are you going to say?
common.
So you're saying more kids
Cause-
die from
Children die from gun violence
gun
anything
violence
else in
Of
this country. Yes.
There's like a
Death
single hospital in Atlanta
from-
that
Unfortunately,
has like
yes, sir. That's the
maybe
case.
Let me see if I can
wait,
let's
find
say
it.
common,
rhetorically
Because
there's
it's not
from that.
14,000
Children.
It's
children
not.
who's all gonna die.
You just Google primary cause of
from
death,
cancer.
ages
That's crazy
0 to
to
18.
fathom.
It's fentanyl's number one, gun violence is number two, probably.
Causes of death in children, except. God, what a fucking bullshit article.
But
It's
y'all really
difficult
ain't
to-
teaching shit ahead of.
Fathom
Okay,
that.
injuries.
Come on.
Like just a single
Injury.
hospital.
No,
in
hey,
Atlanta
guys.
has like 13,000 children who will die of cancer. Let's say it's crazy.
Go to the fast stats
Accurate
from
Here we
the
go.
Centers of
Congress.gov,
Disease
that's
and Controls.
It exceeds that.
Yeah,
Motor vehicle.
No, there was
No, it's so here's what that says. So they included kids up to like 19 years of age in the study.
Here we go.
So technically not
Oh,
kids.
so
and they also
18 was the
included-
cutoff.
And they also included
Yeah, ages to 17.
gun like gang shootings. But still, it doesn't take away from the fact
Doesn't
that
matter.
yeah,
Gun
exactly.
shootings are still a result of
Exactly.
bad
And
gun
to me,
laws.
if I see an 18-year-old, I consider him a kid. not an adult.
Disproportionary
Until
affected
no,
people
look,
of
look,
color.
Wait, no, let's see.
It's
Disproportionary.
disproportionary. It's not even just people.
Read this.
For
There we
the
go.
third straight year, firearms killed more children and teens ages 1 to 17 than any other cause, including car crashes and cancer. But it's disproportionately affected people of color.
What does that have to do with
You want to talk
anything?
about black people?
You think
Wait,
that's,
what does that
you think
have to
that's
do?
like proving a point?
That's not
dog?
proving a point.
People of color.
Emperor,
What
that's
does
not
that
the
have
hill
to
you
mean
want
to
to
do
die on,
anything?
dog.
Dude,
That's
that's
not the hill you
It
want to die
doesn't.
on.
It doesn't take account of everybody.
Yo,
Yes,
it
it
does.
does.
Yes, it does.
It's America. We're a melting pot.
Disproportionately doesn't mean only one people are
Disproportionary.
Dude, you gotta
dog.
Yeah, dude, it just means
There we
It's not the
go.
hill you
Here
want
we
to die on,
go.
Emperor.
Here's
Not
the.
the hill. Pick another one.
There we go. There we go. Firearms.
That's total
Yeah.
people.
Total people.
What's the total people
Black
of
children
cancer
and teens.
that died of cancer that
Just
year?
said that.
Pull them side by side.
No, you want
That's
yes.
Not
Causes of
cancer,
death.
right? Because
How many
cancer is just
people
like
died
not
of
something.
cancer?
Do car accidents.
Push the thing about black people as if that doesn't count.
Well, because dude.
It counts, but it's not the
you're
whole
pivoting.
fucking
Buddy,
country.
It is.
buddy,
Yes,
you're
it is.
pivoting. You're
It's just
pivoting.
saying
And
that
as a matter of
black
fact,
Not the whole country.
that brings
Yes,
up
it
a whole
is.
nother point.
They were
that
just
also
saying.
says
Statistically,
Yeah.
it's
you're more
not-
likely
it's-
to
yeah.
experience that situation if you're a black person.
Yeah.
So
Which
there's
is a
a
whole
more
Yeah, but it
count
happens
of
more
you
than
dying.
Emperor and Emperor
gun
dog,
violence.
again. That's not the
Yeah,
hill
but
you
it's
want to
Which we
still
die on.
already
dog,
understand.
because you're gonna
is
get
a
this
thing.
in
One-
two
it's,
ways.
it's the same shit as
Ah,
people
here we
saying
go.
that cops fucking die more often than fucking construction workers.
There we
you
go.
know what I
Here
mean?
it is. We got the stats. Yay.
Okay, here we have good stats.
Yeah. Firearms. There we go.
That's fucking gnarly, dude.
Yeah, this
What's
is
what's the next one?
motor vehicles, of
vehicles.
course. But except for vehicles
Of
also
course.
save people. They don't always just do the same thing. Miguel, I'm kicking you. Okay.
Firearms involved in the death of more children ages 1 to 17 than other type of injury or illness, suppressing deaths due to motor vehicles. It's good.
Could that
yeah.
be at all because like people were safer and there was like a very more effective like cancer treatment? Just
No.
not saying that I'm trying
Cancer,
to
look, cancer is
This
just
is
straight line.
2020 to
Yeah, it's always a
2021.
straight line.
Yeah.
It's cancer.
It's motor vehicles.
Yeah.
Correct.
It is.
But no, look, it's violence. Gun violence went up. I mean, this is. It's clear. Look, whoop.
Cancer's a straight line. Okay, that answers it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It did drop though,
suffocation,
right?
drowning.
What's the larger?
It did. Motor vehicle
Cancer
dropped.
I mean,
crazy.
Slightly.
Insignificantly.
Yeah.
but, like,
Cancer's still on a
2020.
steady rise.
Obviously, people weren't on the road in 2020, so let's.
But
2021
went from like 5,000 down to like 2,000, which is insane.
I wonder if
Yeah,
it's because
dude,
like
motor
COVID
vehicles
get,
are
like,
honestly
killing
a fucking
people.
We got
also
safer
a
cars,
major
which is
predicament.
But look, it's actually
Cancer wasn't
down in 2018 when there wasn't COVID. And 2019
Yeah, but
is
motor
lower.
vehicles got
So
down.
saying that it's
That's,
due
like,
to
that's
COVID
amazing.
is nuts. Yeah.
5,000
Yeah.
down to like 2.
Yeah, cars are
is
way
like
safer.
A major drop.
That's honestly awesome.
Yay, cars.
It's huge.
Okay, let me pull up this number. In
Also,
the
I can
US.
say if any of you, if I'm wrong, that's fine.
Yeah.
But like I'm
I mean,
very
you
proud
didn't
on
see that stat. Yeah.
Proud on what?
You're like, I love cars. Ignore the guns. No, it's okay.
I know I love.
Death.
I love guns too.
Okay,
like
you
guns.
can
Guns
keep
are
your
fun.
guns as long as you
But
keep
I'd
them in a
still give up my
safe
gun.
and you don't
Yeah.
give them to kids. You're good. Good to go.
What if
Yeah,
I
which-
have a
yeah,
gun and I'm
never
single
give
by
them to kids.
myself and no, I lock my doors all the time? Am I good?
No,
You
it's
should be
kinda
fine.
safe,
But I
yeah.
think there should be a punishment for somebody that gets their gun stolen, because I think if you took enough precautions, you wouldn't be able to have your gun stolen. And many times,
I'm gonna say
stolen guns are the causes of crimes, right? Because they're like,
They
you
are.
can just
Yeah.
claim your gun stolen and be like, oh, even if you sell it, you can just claim it's stolen and you're fine.
No,
They
no.
do say
If your
stolen
gun is
guns should
stolen,
get
like
You should just
prosecuted.
report it.
Right.
Yeah,
If you
it's
leave
Right,
gotta
the
be
you should
door
get, you should,
unlocked,
but you should be able to
don't
get
be
prosecuted
surprised.
if your gun, the gun that got stolen from you, was was used in
if
a
you
crime.
if you don't
you should
report
get
it, you definitely
prosecuted.
should be.
Yeah, if you don't
Even if you do,
report it, yeah.
even if you do, how about you
Nah.
hide your gun 100%? Like, make sure it does not get stolen. Make sure it's
Yeah,
super
that's
safe.
irresponsible.
It,
government
it just
right there.
leaves
You
it.
should
It
get a
leaves
strike
it open
against
to
you
like
if you were a victim of theft.
Like
something
random
more.
prosecutions. Sure,
That's
sure.
Like I
but
can say,
think-
"Oh, I lost my gun," and I let you do it, and you commit a murder with it.
exactly.
No,
So,
no,
that's not
I
okay.
need to be
Sorry, could I-
fucking responsible
Held
for that.
liable. Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Emperor. All right, so we're all in favor of stricter
Losing a gun
gun.
should never be a question. You
let's
should
let-
never lose
Well,
it
that's
as a
that's why
responsible
I'm
owner.
I have a license for my gun.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
It should be stricter though. It should be.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Betty, go for it.
Like no
So
schizophrenics going
I
up
live
in there.
in a country where no one is allowed to have guns.
Lucky
Full
you.
stop.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Even our
We're
police
jealous.
don't have guns. You know, it's only our special
Special
forces.
units. Yeah.
Do they have boomerangs
Yeah, like
though?
it's like we don't need guns.
How many
Have you
black
tried
people
locking
got
your
shot
door
in
Betty,
before?
you're talking to Americans, Betty. We
gonna say-
fucking sleep with our guns.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah,
people will.
I have
Oh,
3
no, and
guns
I'm-
next to me, and one's touching my foot right now.
Okay, and I'll
Oh, you're gonna
Emperor
get
and
your
I'll,
foot
I'll
blown up.
go right back into the room. All I'm saying is, and I would never presume what it's like to live in America, but imagine a society where people don't feel like they need guns. Because
Yeah.
I live in one.
I wish, Betty.
That's not
I used to
that
wake
you
up
You
gotta
and
ever,
get
make ducks
are you
and
ever
take
scared
ducks
about
home and eat
getting
them for
stabbed
dinner.
and stuff like that? What's going on,
No.
or like getting like
No.
I'd rather be
acid
sh-
thrown
But
on
yeah,
you?
I live in New Zealand.
100%.
Oh, even
You're in
better.
a- you're in a different
better
area.
Australia.
Hello.
God damn.
Yeah.
Isn't there a
Feel like
term
I'm
for
not
like
allowed right now.
neighborhoods and
Let me
countries
try
like
it.
that that are kind of what is the term? That are just
Pussies?
like everything's
Shady.
done. No,
Fucking
like there's no like neighborhoods and like
born to the
Guys,
clean or
one
whatever.
conversation
Also-
at a time.
Where did that
Also
guy
drunk,
that did
though.
the
But
Christ
also,
church
the
shooting
last
get his
thing,
day?
can I say the last
Oh yeah,
thing?
yeah.
And I
Betty's
will
still talking.
completely,
guys.
I will completely listen to everyone else. If you think about it, like, you know, Britain the cops do not have guns. Australia, the cops do not have guns.
Well, they only have
New
white people
Zealand,
there too.
The
so.
cops.
Well, who the fuck
do
said
not-
that?
Hey,
Yeah.
Marco, after
You know, I
Betty
just,
speaks,
you know-
Melo's been to speak for a while.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
but
I'll shut up now.
Okay,
but
after
I
Betty,
don't
you'll get to
understand.
talk, Melo.
I cannot understand why anyone
Melo blocked me,
thinks a culture where people and certainly the police have guns is a good idea.
That's just
Anyway,
people
I'll
who
throw that.
are
Shoot
immature,
my
I
gun
guess.
right now, off in the.
Okay, if
fucking
you do that, you
pasture.
get kicked. So please
Where'd
don't.
Melo go?
Not here.
Where the fuck did Mello go? God
Mello.
damn it, Mello.
I don't see him.
Unfortunately, I think it's
He
predicated in
left.
the Constitution, but
Where
you
did,
know what I
the
mean.
guy that did the
I don't know what to
Christchurch
say.
shooting, where did he get
Did
his
he have me
Okay.
blocked? I don't know. I
Australia.
thought we were on the same side.
Yeah,
of
it's
the
unfortunate,
Okay,
dude. I don't
guys.
know.
He did,
I'm
but,
gonna
he got
stop the
them from
stream,
the
and then you
underworld,
guys can go into
not
chaos
legally.
mode. So
Yeah.
wait, but not yet.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna do a close off. We're
appreciate that.
wait a second.
Everybody jump Emperor.
No, that's the opposite. No, we're gonna have a good fun time, but I'm gonna plug everything. We're Teach Progress. Our Discord is on the website teachprogress.org. We're trying to de-radicalize. Tonight was kind of chaotic. We didn't have Sayus to rein everyone in, but he'll be back next week. He the reason is his wife is having her birthday tonight, so he wanted to have a nice dinner with her. Yeah, happy birthday, Jill. And then
How dare you have a
so
personal life?
I know, how dare he?
Listen, Murkov, you did very good by yourself.
Oh, thank you very much.
Very well.
Yeah, cool.
Did very well.
What if you
Yay.
like gifted her a pink like clock?
No, I don't think they did that. But thank you guys, and like I said, everyone joined the Discord, and we have all of the common thinking mistakes and stuff. I'm gonna add these more.
Tomato, I swear to God,
That's
I'm gonna
fine.
hurt
It
you.
was
No,
that
hey,
one
hey.
guy.
I'm gonna take my
It's
gun
fine.
that I got from the
No.
government.
I
and
will
hurt
kick you.